Blackline Brief starts now.
What is up, everybody? Happy Saturday. What's up, Mitchell? How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm fired up, man. I'm doing well. Happy Saturday. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, dude. Welcome. Yeah, it was good prepping before we went live, finding some stuff that we're going to get to share for the first time here on YouTube. Well, welcome in, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Blackline Brief. I'm your host, Matthew McKim, and tonight we have a very special guest, Mitchell Manley, known on X also as Artifex Memoir. Meech is a Phoenix-based video producer, photographer, and independent commentator covering politics, culture, and what he sees as the broader decline of American society. His story is unique because it isn't based on secondhand reporting. It's based on over a decade of firsthand experience. He began working with Turning Point USA as a teenager and spent nearly 13 years behind the camera alongside Charlie Kirk, helping capture campus debates, produce documentaries, and document the rise of one of the most influential conservative organizations in America. After leaving TPUSA in 2023, he pursued his passion for media and established himself as a successful music photographer. In 2024, he returned as part of Charlie Kirk's contracted media crew, serving as one of the three primary camera operators responsible for filming campus debates, major events, and rallies, including operating a broadcast camera at 5 President Trump campaign rallies. Today, Meech is writing 2 books. The first, Gambling, Gooming, and Goy Slop, The Decline of the American Male, explores the cultural, spiritual, and political forces reshaping the next generation of young men. The second is a memoir reflecting on his 13 years alongside Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA. In recent months, through his long-form writing and commentary on X, Meech has begun speaking publicly about his experiences, offering firsthand insight into the institutions he once helped build and challenging narratives he believes deserves closer scrutiny. Please join me in welcoming Mitchell Manley to the Blackline Brief.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Matt. I really appreciate it. Do want to clarify, it's actually just going to be one book. The title, GGG, Decline of the American Male, is kind of the overworking title, and then the subtitle is like a memoir, and then kind of just like a personal reflection on what I experienced there, and again, kind of why I'm speaking out, which, yeah, thank you for the introduction. Obviously, as you said, I met Charlie Kirk when I was 15 years old, and had the unique opportunity of kind of having a hand in developing what became Turning Point USA and what it is today, which is obviously part of why I'm speaking out, because I don't feel as though, a lot of the rhetoric that is coming from the corporate institution that is Turning Point, some of the mouthpieces that are paid to speak for them, however you want to call it, reflect the original values that Charlie Kirk, instilled in the company and ultimately gave his life for. So it's been a crazy, life, crazy career. I never wanted to be in this position, in front of the camera. I have always been behind the camera for a reason, because I didn't want to do this. But, I think that in times like these are when the things that people say and then the values that they claim to uphold and believe really get put to the test, because this does feel like a very dark hour for our nation's history. And it's in times like those when your values are put to the test. And, a lot of people that I have worked closely with over the years, I thought would do the right thing, would stand for truth, would ask the tough questions, even if it was the hard thing to do, even if it cost them a job. And that's part of what's happened to me. But again, I'm doing this because it's right, not because, I have any ulterior motives, any financial interest in this. It actually has impacted me financially as well. So, that's just kind of an overarching view of kind of who I am, my story. But thanks again for having me on. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked to have you here, man. Watching you and being part of some of the X spaces and listening to you tell your story from personal experience over 13 years with Charlie from the early years, right? And then knowing a lot of these people personally, and seeing what Turning Point was while Charlie was still alive, the evolution of him, especially in the last few years, like from 2023 to 2025, and then watching what they've done to TPUSA in the wake of his assassination since September 10th. I'm so glad that people like you, like we had Aubrey Leach come out, and then she kind of went through the ringer you know, and I can imagine why she's kind of been a little bit more quiet since then. But I'm glad that there's good people that are willing to take the risk and come out and speak the truth, you know?
No, it has to be done, I think. And, it's one of those things that if more good people were willing to stand in times like these and speak the things that I know that they're feeling inside, then we wouldn't have the media machine attacking people such as Aubrey and, potentially myself. And I haven't really faced too much scrutiny yet. I've had a couple instances of it, but it's one of those things that also for me, I am aware of, I'm expectant of, right? We are in a political world, we're in a political society, so we should expect these sorts of things. But also I feel as though I'm standing on the side of truth, on the side of Christ, and these people aren't. And when you do that, it's very easy. At first I kind of posted the things that I said, and I was kind of worried. I was like, dang, do I have, is there anything else I have to say? Do I have anything else to add to the conversation? And I found that the more that these people lie, the more I'm able to just kind of respond to them from the point of truth. And it sounds crazy, but the more that people lie, the easier it gets to kind of tear those lies down. And I think we're seeing that kind of take place right now.
Yeah, and I think too, watching, like, once you start telling a lie, then you have to tell more lies to cover that lie up. And then it just becomes so intricate and difficult, especially with these idiots that are doing it. They slip up so much. And then it's great to have people that actually can speak about the real experience of being there and knowing that they're lying. And there's people like Matthew Tuzzarone, who also is really honing in on Tyler Boyer, which is someone you've honed in on as well. And I agree, when you really look into who Tyler Boyer is, his family, Terrell Farnsworth, Arizona, LDS, the political connections that those families have in Arizona, right? He was being investigated, prosecuted, and then he got a pardon, campaign finance issues. And then now we have finance issues within Turning Point. And you're like, oh, and who was there? Oh, that was Tyler. And who's here? Oh, it's Tyler. Oh, okay. I really think that as we pull on that thread, we're gonna get to more of the bottom of this, I think.
Yeah, I think that you're 100% right. It's why I have been, kind of applying as much pressure as I have. It's why his statements were the ones that made me speak out to begin with, right? Again, I had, for the last 9 months, 10 months, kept my head in the sand, so to speak, stayed off Twitter, because I was upset. I was frustrated. Deep down inside, I knew what had happened, which I believe we've kind of begin to pull the truth and the mask off of, if you will, and reveal the truth on that, which is that this was more than likely a very deep state conspiracy, potentially working with those, aligned with the nation state of Israel, to silence a man who was being very openly critical of our nation's alignment with them, our nation's partnership with them. And I think that, the more that people such as Tyler Boyer run from accountability, run from basic questions, right? And that's all it was for me. Was he put out a tweet around the time of the Women's Leadership Summit that they just had last month. And, it was a very watered down kind of, many weren't around at the start of Turning Point, and this is what it was about. And, I kind of just replied, and I was like, Tyler, this, like, yes, this is part of it, but you're missing the root, like what made Charlie Charlie. You're missing everything, really. And I threw in a clip of Charlie as well, and that's, again, something I'm trying to do. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this because I watched someone I considered a very close friend and mentor and ally to, like, get murdered in broad daylight, and the people who were right there alongside him saying we need to ask questions all the time, we have to hold the government accountable, specifically in the instance of JFK, are now doing a complete 180 and not doing that. So for me, I genuinely am coming at this from a place of good faith and just wanting to get to the root of it. And it seems that those who have benefited the most in the wake of Charlie's unfortunate demise are the ones also now telling us to not ask questions, to trust the government, to just trust the evidence, when, again, for years these were the same people who were calling themselves thought criminals, who were, covering the Kenosha trial, backing Kyle Rittenhouse while the media machine came after him and labeled him guilty before he even faced a jury. And I think that the parallels there, are hypocritical. And the whole time, all we see is Tyler Boyer working in Turning Point Action, pushing people to the next election, while we're not even holding this administration accountable. That's the question I have for Tyler, is why would anyone my age in this generation, who's watched what has just taken place, who's watched what the administration did to Charlie, and in the wake of his death, why would I ever vote Republican again? When all they do is betray us the minute they get power. And the one person who was supposed to be the one holding them accountable, the one person who trusted them the most to get them into office, that's why we campaigned for you guys as hard as we did. That's why we went to 40 campuses together, where you guys were supposed to not go to a new war. You guys were supposed to give us the truth on the Epstein files. You guys were supposed to do mass deportations. You guys were supposed to do a lot of things that in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, you're not doing. Well, why are you not doing that? Right? I don't care really about the what. I am much more of a why. I just keep asking questions. I never shut up, Matt. I will never stop asking questions. Charlie taught me to do that from 15 years old, right? So I get to the why, and I think we're beginning to uncover a larger part of that why, right? And I think many people know what that why is. They're just afraid to say it out loud because they saw what happened to Charlie. They've seen what happened to people like me. This media machine is vicious. It does not want the truth to get out there. But as we get Christians know, the truth will set us free, and the truth will inevitably be revealed. And I think we are slowly getting there. And the clip that we found, just a couple minutes ago when we were kind of talking, I think is a large part of that truth.
Yeah, and we're gonna play it here in a minute. I've said this a couple times. Turning Point and like Real America's Voice, the Charlie Kirk show, like that whole apparatus is the new Fox News.
Well, I think that it's actually going to be much larger than that. And I think that if we look at the financial backings of it, we look at also the foreign interest backing. I brought this up yesterday when I was speaking with Constitution. Salem Media is working with Brad Parscale, who's a registered foreign agent. And what foreign country are they working for? The nation state of Israel, right? And so, as Charlie said in that clip in 2023, you can label someone as Elon Musk an anti-Semite. You could label Charlie Kirk an anti-Semite. You can, try and kill him for what he was saying. And as we now know from Blake Neff, he had confirmed that he was, in fact, leaving the Israel lobby. That was going to happen. You can label me an anti-Semite if you want. Your labels mean nothing to me when you work for Satan. And again, I stand for Christ. I know what you did to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So these actions do not surprise me. And that's the thing I want Christians to hear, is that, guys, we have to be realists with this. We are in a spiritual war. Politics is the front that they are using to wage the spiritual war on good-hearted Christians. There are millions of Christians who are deceived, that are sitting in churches every Sunday that push Zionism ultimately, which at the end of the day worships the same death cult that crucified our Lord and Savior Jesus. And that's why I keep saying the time for spiritual discernment is now. We have to be thinking critically. We have to be using the very complex brains that God gave us. We cannot be letting these people who get paid to lie to us lie and get away with it and reshape our society. This is the hour of crisis, as far as I've seen it. I'm 27 years old, but I don't know. I feel like this trial and everything that has ensued from Charlie's assassination, the chaos, is what the deep state is using to install this new world order that we now know is 3.5 years out, 2030, right? Like, everyone forgets that. Everyone was panicking about it back in 2020. Now we're 6 years in, 6.5, right? And 2030 is right around the corner. You guys think that the intelligence agencies and everyone, the World Economic Forum, all these people just stopped advancing that because you forgot about it? No, in fact, they're very happy you forgot about it. They're also using this moment to distract you from a lot of that. And they're ushering in things under your noses that you guys don't realize is happening, while you're focused on the 80 different distractions that Paramount Tactical and all the rest are feeding you, right? This is an information war. This is a disinformation war. We are in the middle of it. We've been in the middle of it for years. Charlie was the leading voice in that fight, and they silenced him. And I'm not going to sit here and let them lie and turn him in to a prop for this illegitimate establishment. I refuse to do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and honestly, I followed Charlie, for years, and I believed what he believed about Trump, right? I knew that
we all did. We all did.
Yeah. And like him being an honest, good, you know, a man of integrity, someone to look up to, not Trump, Charlie.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
And that he knew JD and Trump personally, and that there's no way Charlie would have got out there and told us that we can, you know, to vote for them and to believe in them unless he believed it himself. He wasn't lying to us. He truly believed that JD and Trump were going to follow through on all their promises. And I was saying this last night, that if Charlie was alive, they had to do September 10th. It had to be then, because if he was alive for Venezuela, if he was alive for no epi file release, and if he was alive for the actual war, not just the freaking Midnight Hammer war, the real war, the regime change war, which him and all of his, you know, guys on Thought Crime were saying, they're like, if they try to talk us into a regime change war, we got a problem. There's a big issue there. If Charlie would have been alive for that, and we would have had Candace, Megan, Tucker, Charlie all going at the same time, like it would have been so bad. It would have been so bad for them.
No, this was a warning to everyone in that circle. It was a warning to Megyn Kelly. It was a warning to Jack Posobiec. It was a warning to all of these people. Stop.
Yep.
Look what we can do to you. Right? Yep. You want to not get in line now that we're in power? Look what we will do to you. And again, it goes back to what Charlie said time and time again in relation to Butler, right? Look what they want. This goes back to he trusted them to not kowtow and bend the knee, right? He trusted this deep state he trusted this administration to be able to actually combat this deep state. I don't know if it's possible at this point. I truly question that. That brings me to a larger point we might get to later, but like, yes, and I think you see it most in the Tucker Carlson interview he did, you know, a couple weeks before. So that he goes on the record and says how much he trusts Kash Patel, how much he trusts Pam Bondi, how much he trusts everyone to clean house, basically, to give us this new country that we were promised, right? Which we're now learning was a pipe dream, to get us here, to get us to this point of division and chaos that they can just usher in whatever they want without any of us noticing, right? And then by then it'll be too late. By then you won't have the same freedoms you had, you know, 10 years ago. It goes back to the Tim Dillon clip that I love that he did a couple months back. Like it is so apparent to me, and yet it is so effective at the same time, because these people are legendary deceivers, right? They are demons, in my opinion. Like I said, we are in a spiritual war. And so people say all the time, you know, to try and combat my viewpoint, you know, Charlie Kirk was such an intelligent man. By attacking Erica, you are, and those in his circle, you are saying that he wasn't smart enough to see their character. And I think it's one of those things where, no, I think if we look at what happened to the entire American population, we all were deceived, Charlie himself. And if you look at history, it's very naive to think that the greatest men throughout history, the smartest men, have never been deceived in spite of their intelligence, in spite of how effective they are. Right, that is at the core of all historic struggles, is betrayal and mutinies and Julius Caesar. Like just look at Julius Caesar, for example. Right, it's Julius Caesar was one of the most effective people. They still got him, right? And so I think that, you know, for everyone using that as a defense, again, it's disinformation. We're in a disinformation war, and I would not be doing what I'm doing if I didn't think that this moment in our nation's history is important. I think that, you know, in 1775, there was a Shah heard around the world, and it led to the foundation of this nation that has been an experiment up until this point, and it still is. It's a test, right? And there's a sense in which the intelligence agencies are always testing us, and I think that this is a litmus test in many ways for what we will tolerate as people. But, you know, in 1775, we had that, and then in 2025, we had a shot, if you want to call it that was seen around the world, and instantly, mind you. We didn't need newspapers. We have cell phones now. And so, you know, 1776, it's now 2026, 250 years. I think that God is giving us a time to pause and reflect. I think that as the government and everyone who is afraid of them is speaking and saying China is our enemy, communism is our enemy, when Charlie Kirk, the man that just got brutally executed in broad daylight in public, was, you know, 3 months before his death, saying the imminent threat to our nation is the deep state, is this apparatus that creates events of chaos and stages, you know, national trauma events such as Butler, right? To push whatever it is. This is so complex that it is so difficult to tear down, and they use force to intimidate and fear to keep people from getting to the truth. Well, Matt, fear is not from our Lord. Like, it's not. And that's why I'm speaking up now, because for so long I was afraid, and I finally realized fear is not from our Lord. And, you know, this earth is temporal, and I hope that these people are having as much fun as they want here, because I do genuinely think that they will be judged for this, their actions here in the next life. But, you know, that it's just insane to me where we're at. And I truly hope that people stop focusing on the smaller issues and truly kind of pay attention to what part of the timeline they're in, because it does seem to be escalating very quickly to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much I want to say about that, so I got to find a way to weave it so that I don't miss any parts. I was always drawn to like the World War II, but then in the wake of World War II, right, when the OSS became like the CIA, Operation Paperclip, and the scientists that we brought over. But then I'm really fascinated with JFK, and what you see is the institutions and the power structures that he was running up against, that ultimately I believe are responsible for his assassination, are one in the same that Charlie was running up against. When you talk about here in the United States, the intel agencies. So he said, JFK was like, I'm going to break him apart and scatter him to the wind, right? Charlie said on Tucker, this is one of, if not the biggest issue here for us right now. Okay. And then talking about Israel, JFK was not wanting them to have a nuclear program. He was going to, do inspections, making them register as foreign agents. They weren't having that. And then obviously after he got assassinated, LBJ undid all that, right? Similarly, Charlie taking on Israel, I mean, not in the way that like I think some people are making it out to be. Obviously, I think that biblically he still believed that there was some part of us as Christians that should support like true Jewish people, right? Not like the Likud party, extreme like neocon versions of the, Israel political government, right? Because he did have an affinity for Israel, right? And the birthplace of Jesus, and like where the Bible was, where it happened, but definitely was asking the right questions about their involvement here, their control and their purchasing of our politicians, and getting us to signing us up for foreign wars where we lose thousands and thousands of servicemen and women, and they don't, where they lie to us and say that we have weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and there's nothing. And then they're like, oh, we're, since 1996, Bibi's like, yeah, they're just 2 weeks away from a nuclear bomb. And then he just repeats that. Have you seen that montage of him? Like every time
of course,
said it for 30 years.
Yeah.
And then we bomb them in Midnight Hammer, and they're like, success, we did it.
And I want to point out something about Midnight Hammer, because it is something that people use to discredit Charlie. And it's that, well, Charlie blindly trusted President Trump when we bombed, Iran in 2020 or 2025 and destroyed their nuclear. Well, that's the thing, right? And it still exists on the White House. They put out a statement that said we totally destroyed their nuclear program.
Yep.
So, okay, I watched Charlie's stream that night. He was very much like, this is an escalation. We didn't vote for this. We're going to trust the president's judgment on this, and we need to be careful. Like we need to be careful. This may have been necessary, but we're going to see what happens after. We're going to trust his intelligence. And then they told us that they destroyed the nuclear facilities. Mm-hmm. So until Charlie died, he was under the impression that like there wasn't really a need for a war in Iran. And then if you go back, a couple months prior, you see that 16-minute video that I also have on my profile, which is Charlie just laying out why we do not need another war, why we shouldn't go to war in Iran. He calls Lindsey Graham pathologically insane. Yep. And now we have, the people in his studio, Blake Neff, writing puff pieces on Lindsey Graham after his death.
Isn't that crazy?
It's insane. And that gets me to my deeper point, which I don't think anyone's talking about, which is that this feels like a managed decline of the biggest threat to the deep state by the deep state itself. I think that many of these people are operating intentionally, because their statements are so blatantly not in line with the statements Charlie was making right before his death that it seems like they're walking it back. And of course, right, if you think about intelligence agencies and how they operate, they're always focused on who? The next generation. Because once your brain gets past a certain point, it's no longer malleable. I'm very blessed to have been able to have spent my entire young adult life around Charlie Kirk. So my brain operates a little bit differently than the average American. But that's not the case for many people. And Charlie Kirk and his organization was at a point where he was going to a college campus and pulling crowds of 1,000 to 3,000 students.
Yep.
And that's the reason we got the administration we did. That's the reason we got the mandate that we did.
Yep.
And that's also why the intelligence agencies that have been so focused on propping up this same institution that began, in my opinion, after the reconstruction of Germany and the foundation of the nation state of Israel, right around the time of the end of World War II as well. You said you're a history guy. It's going to be part of my book, but that's what this is all about. This is so much not about the left or trannies or anything like that, right? This is so much more a deeper issue, a philosophical, fundamental, nation-breaking issue that they don't want us talking about, and that's the reason why. Because for the last, I don't know, at least 40 years, our nation has been controlled and subverted by these people who don't want us talking about the exact things that I am right now.
100%. And what's crazy is too, like, so Jack Posobiec, Blake Neff, Andrew Colvett, Tyler Boyer, they were on Thought Crime in July.
Oh, I know. I posted that video. Like, I think I was the one who put that up first.
We played it here. I don't know, a month or a couple weeks ago.
And that's where they call Zelensky a tranny, I think, right? It's just like that. These are the type of people that are now labeling myself, Candace Owens, who was one of Charlie's very early friends, conspiracy theorists for questioning our government. When again, if you look at the Media Matters clip I played, Charlie Kirk wasn't even the biggest voice saying these things. Elon Musk was agreeing these things back in 2023. But now I just got censored 2 days ago on Twitter for saying the same thing that Charlie Kirk said 2 days before he died, which is that the Jews run the media. So
wait, what happened on X? You got censored?
I put out a tweet a couple days ago, or a couple weeks back, that was like, the Jews run the media, and they have enough money to put whoever they want into office. So, clearly this, and I said that, and it got struck by X as inciting violence. So how can Elon Musk 3 years ago agree with Charlie Kirk that Jewish groups are inciting violence against whites, but now I get on X and say the same thing that Charlie Kirk said a couple days before his death to Ben Shapiro, and now I'm getting silenced on X, and you expect me to sit here and listen to you when you tell me this is a lone shooter narrative? This isn't a larger conspiracy theory to silence voices that are speaking about anti-Semitism and these issues articulately and in a way that does not match your label of me being whatever you want to try and throw my way. It doesn't add up, because listen to the words I'm saying. I'm not hateful. I'm not anything. I am very much rooted in reality. I'm intellectual. I'm smart. I spent 13 years working for Charlie Kirk. So I'm not the enemy of the state you're going to try to label me as. Like, neither is Tucker Carlson, neither is Candace Owens, neither is Joe Kent. None of these people are. That's why Joe Kent and I are talking, because it is not political anymore. They're using politics to divide us, as they always have. The issue is the masks are off. The demons are out on stage, and they are here to keep their power. It is time for Christians to get involved. I'm serious. Like, I don't want, we can't do this alone. We can't. We will lose this country. It will happen. Yeah,
100%. I had this thought and I lost it. And I was like trying to get it back. What we were talking about at the beginning of that statement of yours.
I know. I'm sorry. We keep going down tangents.
No. You're good. It'll come back to me at some point. It always does. Why don't we hop into the clip that you found? Oh, yeah, I remember now. I knew it. Yes, I got it. Okay. So Elon Musk was being labeled an anti-Semite. Charlie retweets him and actually talks about it on his show. Do you know what happened to Elon in order to get him not being labeled an anti-Semite anymore? Do you know what he had to do?
Well, I'm sure it's the same thing that happened to Kanye West when they labeled him an anti-Semite, which is he had to go meet with a very specific council of a, very specific religious group that just so happened to all be Jewish, and make some very private public apologies, I'm sure, like a combination of the two. I don't know what happened to Elon, but maybe.
Guess who accompanied him to Israel and on his purple.
I remember this now. I remember he was given the tour. That's right. He was. Yeah. And then guess who Charlie Kirk's security called on the way to the hospital?
Ben Shapiro. Yeah.
Yep. So again, you expect me to not notice these connections here, guys? You are the ones who are liars and conspiracy theorists, because the theory that you are presenting is a lie and it's not true.
Yeah.
A 20-year-old male does not hate Charlie Kirk enough to go ruin his life for the rest of his life like that. I'm sorry. It's just it just is so unfathomable to me. But if you look at the threat that Charlie Kirk posed to the deep state in the way that have just presented and continue presenting, that is the most believable motive, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. And Charlie said himself on the 10X conference with Grant Cardone that he wasn't afraid of any purple-haired jihadist leftists. He said that the people that concerned him the most were people on his inner circle, people that were close to him, people that deceived him, betrayed him, lied to him, or told him he couldn't or shouldn't do something or wouldn't like amount to anything. You know, he said that himself. And furthermore, in Lance Twiggs's own interview, he said that Tyler Robinson never even brought up Charlie's name, never talked about transgender ideology. Never. It never came up. Lance Twiggs himself said that the only thing that Tyler spoke to him about was like some political legislation things that were either being voted or not being voted in, because I guess on the way to work, Tyler would ride in this like work van with his, you know, co-workers, and they would listen to some political radio show. But that he was supposedly radicalized to the degree that he planned this assassination in a week and a half or 2 weeks, and pulled off the assassination of a century or our lifetime, and then never ever brought anything up to his boyfriend he's living with. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, never said Charlie's name.
Well, and what also doesn't make sense is now that we've learned that the FBI had prior knowledge, thanks to Andrew Colvett, you know, they sent allegedly threatening texts and TikToks and such to the FBI beforehand, before the shooting happened. Is what Blake Neff said the other night ago. So if that's the case, then why? I just have questions like, why weren't protective measures taken, preventative measures? And then if they weren't taken, right, if Andrew Colvett knew that they weren't taken, why did he even let Charlie still go out to the tent if they had threats already? Right. So those two things kind of, again, indicated a deep state involvement to me that they're trying to get us all to ignore and not think about and not pay attention to. Again, I've raised these questions publicly to almost all the people we're talking about. While they're happy to, you know, publicly try and roast other people, all I get is blocked and ignored. So I think there's kind of a reason there as well. And so like it is just insane to me that these people, I think they overplayed their hand too, in a sense. It's like, how are you going to, you know, try to take out the guy who told us all to question our government relentlessly? Just like, I don't know. But I want to get back to your point, which is, you know, the threat aspect. Like, if Charlie Kirk was afraid of leftists, you know, murdering him in public, I don't think he would be going to a college campus and letting a crowd of like 3,000 people come 10 feet in front of him. I'll be honest with you, as someone who toured with him, that was my biggest fear, was somebody coming up point blank, having something concealed and just bang. Like, because that's, you know, logically the easiest thing. Like, you know what I mean? It just, and as someone who sat with my back turned to the crowd and facing Charlie, I would be, you know, right there. If he misses, God forbid, you know, it's just things you think about when you're in this environment every day.
For sure.
And I remember there was an event that kind of, we had to tear down. I think I posted a clip from it actually the other day. Kind of like an unedited minute and a half of just Charlie in his element on these tours. Cause it was something that I don't think a lot of people understand, like the energy that he brought, the change that he was making in young people's lives. Cause again, this was more than politics. This was spiritual. He was bringing people to Christ and getting people to think critically and logically about the world that they're in, to break out from the brainwashing. His tour was called You're Being Brainwashed. Like that, like, again, and look at what they're trying to do to us now with this tour. They are trying to brainwash you. I promise you that's what's happening. Like, that is what's happening. This is a psyop on a national level that is there are multiple layers to it. It's being used. They are using it and doing it in many different ways. But, you know, Charlie Kirk, if he was afraid of leftists, wouldn't go tour on college campuses in the way that he did. He just wouldn't. And, you know, they would have a much higher security apparatus if that was the case, and that wasn't the case. You know, the guys that toured with him, the security guys, I know a lot of them. I worked very closely like alongside them, right? As far as I was concerned, I thought they all would take a bullet for Charlie if it came to that, right? Granted, the way we saw it play out, they didn't have an opportunity to. So there's, you know, questions I have, you know, about the measures that were taken after and the decisions that were made, obviously, as any logical person who really cared about Charlie, I feel like would. And that, again, is just the deeper reason of why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I waited 9 months to kind of observe and just kind of see. I wanted to trust that these people who came out initially and said certain things were going to do the things that they said. We're going to uphold the values and the work that this man had given his life for, the fight that we are in the middle of, that we are on the brink of honestly losing. And I don't think many realized it, to be honest, because again, it is disinformation. We're in a disinformation war, and that's why I'm just trying to get this message out as best I can, because I feel like the time is very much of the essence.
Well, I think that's a good time to pull on that thread. So why don't you take us back to, and you can do a brief recap of the early days and when you were there and what it was like, but really how it started to change in about 2018, right? That's when like Erica Kirk came in the picture. That's when
I think it was later than that, actually, dude. Like it was more like 2021, 2020. Like it really wasn't until then. Yeah. Even in 20, like the reshaping, like all those people didn't get brought in until much later on, really.
Well, Andrew Colvett came in 2018, and
then
he
wasn't like an influential person then. That's what I'm saying. Like these people were brought in and then slowly like brought up into positions of influence, and then they all ended up where they are now. Yeah, they were all picked by Tyler. I mean, Tyler's the reason that Erica and Charlie know each other.
Well, I wanted to ask you. So, dang it, I should just let you take us through it. But I was just, if I forget, I just want to get it out there. That manufactured crisis that Charlie had, where he couldn't resolve it on his own, and then had to reach out to Andrew, even though Andrew had already given Charlie his number, and Charlie was ghosting him. But then there was this crisis that happened that he couldn't resolve. And then that's how Andrew came in the picture. Correct?
Yeah, I don't really know how he got brought in. It all felt very suspicious to me. Again, yeah, I'll give you kind of my perspective of what I witnessed. Okay. In 2018, none of these people were involved. Tyler had handpicked this girl who just graduated from TCU. Her name was Sarah. She was kind of going to run the media side of things for Charlie. It eventually turned into what is now the media department at Turning Point, and then the Charlie Kirk Show. They're now separate entities. They were kind of run interchangeably in the early days as Charlie was figuring his stuff out, you know, the breakdown of things, whatever. But, you know, in 2020, the Charlie Kirk Show was still pretty unknown. COVID had just kind of happened. We had the election. Yep. Trump lost. But that's, I think I keep going back to this is when like people started paying attention, and you know, Charlie kind of first got his first push of real institutional eyes, I think, and you know, money and power, whatever. During Stop the Steal, you know, I was working for the Charlie Kirk Show and was running his email, freedom@charliekirk.com, as a college student, as an intern. And, you know, I watched this email inbox get 60,000 emails in the span of like 2 days. And that's because Charlie and Tyler were going live for 4 to 6 hours every night. After Charlie had already done his daily stream and everything else, they would get back on the air and do election coverage.
Wow.
And no one was doing that at the time, right? At the time, this was historic. And that's why we had so many people reach out to us. And on top of that, we got a massive influx of money. People were sending us money like no tomorrow. Because again, we're a nonprofit. Charlie's doing this on his own. We're independent. We're not establishment at this point. We're very much just grassroots, fighting our own fight. You know, a lot of the people I ended up touring with were still the guys doing the show who are still doing it today, right? So again, it was all just what it was. It was a family. We were all in this fight together, right? And from there, you know, it started to evolve, right? And then from there, Mikey McCoy and Pastor Rob McCoy got brought into the mix. And then, you know, slowly Andrew Colvett kind of gets introduced, but he wasn't around really, at least from what I know, until like 2020, 2021. And by then I was already an employee of Turning Point USA, and they had kind of begun integrating him on that side of things. But I put out a tweet the other day where, you know, as far back as 2021, I feel like this whole thing, Charlie's, you know, approach on the Israel issue was being managed by people like Tyler and Andrew, because
for sure
in 2021, I was the producer on a show called Debate Night with Charlie Kirk, and we were trying to get guests to come debate Charlie. And if you go back to 2021, who was like one of the loudest voices begging Charlie to debate him is Nick Fuentes. Mm-hmm. So at the time, Tyler had gotten in the chat, and I have screenshots of it, and he said, we should consider trolls with big followings to debate Charlie. And at first I, you know, considered, I was like, dude, we should just, you know, debate Nick. I presented my case. And, you know, Andrew Colvett was added to the chat earlier as well. And, you know, you can look through some of the screenshots, and they weren't the ones who, you know, nixed it. They just said no Nick Fuentes, but it was, again, someone who was chosen by Tyler to be in the position he was, managing Charlie's side of things. Charlie was not in the chat at all. He had no input on who he wanted to debate. You know, it was very much managed. And I think they ran lists by him eventually, but it wasn't. I don't think they ever asked him. And at the time, he didn't want to debate Nick either. You know,
Right.
it was very much just something that I was like, hey, you know, maybe you guys should think about this, and they shut it down quickly. But it gets to the greater point of what I think we're seeing now, right? Which is Nick Fuentes is now agreeing with these people, Jack Posobiec and Ben Shapiro, and, you know, trust the lone shooter. These people aren't talking about the things the right way. Like, we all know that these people are being paid by another interest. And so, you know, I think that of all things is what's so telling here, is that Charlie was the strongest force against these people, and they knew it. And that's why right now we are seeing desperate measures, right? We saw that with what happened last week or 2 weeks ago. I'm losing track of time at this point, but when Jack Posobiec blatantly lied to the American public and attacked, you know, justice outright, and then hundreds of people who are aligned or even not aligned with him, that get paid by the same media machine, same Zionist media machine, amplified those lies. And they all, in my opinion, waged war on America. They declared themselves enemies of the Republic. And that's, again, what I'm saying. They don't want you to look at their actions that way. They don't want you to think about it that way. But that is what it is. You know, we need to be point blank about it. We need to be direct. No one is articulate anymore, it seems. It seems like our national rhetoric levels have fallen to below sea levels. But, you know, and that's how they lie. That's how they deceive. They use doublespeak, and that's leftist behavior at the end of the day. But what's leftism? It's just, you hate America, right? And so that's, I think, at the core of what this comes down to. You hate Christ, you hate America, and those who hate Christ and hate America killed Charlie Kirk. And I don't think that person necessarily was Tyler Robinson. And if it was, I don't think that he acted alone. And I think that Andrew Colvett, you know, is the first person we have to ask about that, because he was in talks with the FBI before, and Charlie still ended up dead. So I still just want to know why. And I would love Andrew Colvett. You can answer me whenever, but I don't think he will, because he blocked me.
Yeah, that's how they roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in how, like, after he got in, when did he become like part owner of the, you know, Charlie Kirk show? How did he work his way up?
Well, I think we're going to get there eventually when we start digging into the financials of some of these shadow LLCs that these people have. I don't know. I'll be honest. Yeah. I think that we have to look into Resolute Media, which we now know has ties back to Israel via Clock Tower LLC.
Yeah, which is also Havas Media Group and Brad
and Salem, and it's all this network, right? Yeah. And I think, you know, at a greater level, this is all a part of the Greater Israel Project, which, you know, they'll call you a conspiracy theorist for saying it until it happens, and then it's real, right? Kind of like the same thing that's happening with the Charlie Kirk assassination theories, but I digress. And, you know, I think they talk about motives. What motive did the left have for killing Charlie Kirk? What did the left gain from killing Charlie Kirk?
Right.
I haven't seen any wins from the left. If anything, all I've seen is the right steamrolling us in a way that feels, honestly, almost tyrannical. And because we did not vote for any of these things, and when we try to hold them accountable, they tell us to shut up, and they threaten declaring us enemies of the state and terrorists. And now they're using rhetoric such as communism to label anyone who questions things, such as what happened to Charlie Kirk, such as Israel's, you know, very obvious subversion of our nation and politicians. They'll label you a communist, Antifa, enemies of the state. We saw Blake Neff doing it at AmFest. And it's akin to that. What they're doing to me is akin to terrorism. You are waging war on America. You guys are attacking. Sure. You guys are attacking the foundational pillars of this republic, and you're claiming to love the country while you do it. That's what makes it so deceptive. That's why I'm calling this a disinformation war. And it didn't just begin with the death of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was the first victim in it. He might not have even been the first victim. There were probably plenty before him. He was just the most prominent and the one who threatened them the most, that they had to make a statement for all those underneath him to get in line and not ask questions. And I think that's why we've seen what we've seen with Megyn Kelly. I think that's why we've seen what we've seen with Jack Posobiec. All of these people who considered themselves friends of Charlie, who called themselves friends of Charlie, half of these people who are in office because of Charlie are now going along with the deep state. If that doesn't scream how evil these people are that we are, you know, up against, these forces even, that this is not politics. This is not just your average leftist. This is not just your average communist. Like this is This is Satan manifest in many ways, in my opinion. And we need to say that. We need to talk about that. More churches, more Christians need to be having these conversations openly, articulately, and honestly, because if we don't, we are all going to regret it. And I hate to say that, but history shows. Just look at the Bolshevik Revolution. Just look throughout history. Millions of us will perish if we do not start asking serious questions about the people who are treating us as if we work for them. No, the government works for us. We elected you. And if you are operating for a foreign government before your own people, and you are simultaneously not upholding the values of that republic, which we have entrusted you to defend, it is our lawful right then, as citizens, to do what the Declaration declares. I'm sorry, it is. It is. This isn't like conspiracy. This isn't me trying to incite violence. This is me articulately referencing the foundational documents of our republic in a way that calls out to the King, which is Christ, right? I do not, bend the knee to a politician. I serve Christ alone. That's what founded this country. And we need to go back to that. That's why I'm saying we all should take a moment and honestly just pray as a nation and cry out to God, not in some national Zionist funded prayer group that the White House is putting on. No, just fall on your knees and cry out to God. And we need to be doing that on a regular basis because these people, these demons are winning the spiritual war. And millions of Christians are being deceived in real time.
Going back to what you were saying about motive, Frank Turek said the other night, the three main motives for like murder are sex, money, and power. And I'm like, how did Tyler get any one of those things from this? Or how did the left get any one of those things from this? He's just an idiot, but speaking about like Zionism, like, and how it's had this like stranglehold on us, the Schofield Bible was written by Oxford Press and was funded by the Rothschilds, bro.
Well, and it's like all of our textbooks that we all grew up reading were, Robert Maxwell, and you see the Epstein connection there, the Epi connection there. And so like, it's to me, it's deception, it's disinformation, it's demonic. You just have to call it what it is. You have to remove the veil from your eyes. I was blessed that it happened to me in 2020, and that's why when I was still employed at Turning Point USA, I was saying a lot of the things I am now openly. I was like, hey, this stuff, asking the tough questions that a good person asks. And I think I was sidelined because of that. It's part of why I left Turning Point.
You were ahead of the curve. I didn't find out until 2025 when I started really researching the Schofield Bible.
And that's like another thing, getting to the deception of what has happened. It's very evil, right? Like Erica Kirk took the stage and she said, evil has shown its face. And I think that she was true. I just think that she was the evil that she was talking about there. And I think that, we know that demons, demonic warfare, spiritual warfare, they have to reveal their hand. They always do.
They reveal the method.
They do. And so I think that in that statement, it was almost like a projection of her and her ilk. And I think if we look at her actions, like we just have, there's nothing that you can really say to defend that. And, a Christian forgiving her husband's murderer, I struggle to understand. And then you simultaneously couple that with how much she demands people stop asking questions. She doesn't want people to, investigate things. It just doesn't add up with the natural Christian response, in my opinion. And you can say you grieve differently, but again, you're not living up to the initial things you said at the beginning, which was that you need a space for people to go and ask questions. What would Charlie think about this issue, X, Y, and Z? And every time people have done that, such as Blake Neff in regards to the Iran issue, you say, oh, we don't know how Charlie would react to what's happening, when again, there's a 16-minute video of him calling Lindsey Graham pathologically insane and saying we don't need to go to war and that we actually need to philosophically consider, the Rand Paul isolationist approach. And so it's blatant doublespeak. These people are acting like leftists. But again, leftists has been a term that the institution has used for the last 20 to 30 years in this disinformation war to keep us at odds with ourselves instead of getting to the root of the issue, which is the real evil that Erica Kirk, I believe, is aligned with. And it gets to the deception aspect, which is like, they thought they claimed that they launched a revival, right? And they did. They got millions of people woken up to what's happening. But in the aftermath now, the intelligence agencies very, very tactfully are trying to walk us back into the 2008, 2012 era of right versus left. If you don't like this brazen display of patriotism, which the UFC fight, for example, then you hate this country, then you're anti-American. No, actually, I like events like that. I would love to have two things. I don't see why it has to be one way or the other. Why can't we have a UFC fight and also not go to war in the Middle East? Why can't we have a UFC fight and have homes be more affordable for people my generation? Why can't we have a UFC fight and also get truth on the Epstein files? It is not this one side or the other like fight that you're trying to get us into. All right. Like it's so much deeper than that. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing. If evil showed its face, then you didn't do anything to combat that evil. This is what I keep going back to. If the left killed Charlie Kirk, the administration had a mandate to go door to door, practically arresting every leftist and investigating them for their connection with potential terror organizations, right? Because they labeled Antifa a terrorist group. You could go through every person who's liked a pro-Antifa tweet on Twitter and have these people arrested potentially. They did none of that. And so that's my thing is, you say one thing and do another. Whether you're Erica Kirk or the administration, you say that the left killed Charlie Kirk, but then you took zero action to dismantle the left. You're trying to rile us up for the next election to fight the left when you guys are the ones in power. You have all the power. We gave you the power to do those things. In fact, the man who was fighting the fight louder than you all was murdered. We all would have loved to see you go full fascist, and you didn't. So it doesn't make sense to the brain when you logically speak about it, when you don't get worked up, when you don't let these people throw falsehoods your way, and when you don't listen to the labels they try and put on you, because it's all not true. It's all a lie. And just stand on the side of Christ and the truth will be revealed.
What's interesting too, you made such a good point. So like you think about like they brought back the World's Fair this year. We had the UFC fight on the lawn where it's like patriotism, on steroids, right? And it's like,
well, and simultaneously they're staging assassinations.
Right.
But those two go hand in hand. If you criticize the massive, excessive, expensive display of patriotism, then you must be in the camp of these people who are trying to kill the president, which I don't think are even necessarily real events. Because if we look at Donald Trump, I think he's trying to go down in history as the man who survived the most assassination attempts. And we know that all the world's a stage, and that Donald Trump himself spent years in the WWE. And, to think that these people are not actors is naive. You have to do that. The amount of money that politics is a bigger Hollywood, except it has real world implications. Right. Erica Kirk is an actress. Like I know this. This is fact. All of these people are failed TV show people, failed radio show people. They end up in politics because naive people who can't think critically think that these people who tell them one thing are living for them and advocating for them, when in reality, they're all just profiting off the lies and the crap that they're feeding these people. And it needs to end. And I truly have made it my life's mission to expose this fraud, these liars, these deceivers, these demons for what they are, because it is deceptive. It is evil. And that is not what Christ tells us to do.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting that instead of doing the things to actually restore our country to a better time and a better place where it could actually, be genuinely what we want it to be, they're giving us these like Coliseum games, right? It's just a show, right? Like this patriotism on steroids is just a smoke screen that we actually are like making the country better. They're not doing any, and it's pissing off people that are, on the other side, or some people, maybe not all, but like, it's like rubbing it in their face. It's also making people that aren't thinking clearly that like, oh, look, we are making changes. America is, the greatest country in the world, and we are going to make it all better. But it's really, they're not doing anything. It's not making any significant change of any kind. And it's also a distraction from all the things that we want them to do. They're like, no, stop talking, stop asking questions. Look at all the planes flying over. Look at the fireworks, just eat your bread and drink your wine and just go to the next game.
Yeah. And like, I want to say this too. I am like as patriotic as it comes, right? I love my nation. I love my country. Same. I would give my life for it. But I think that these things are being used as tools, right? The trial as well. And it ultimately goes back to, and we can move over to this way if you want, the clip that Elon responded to, the anti-Semitism bit, right? it gets to, you cannot point out the greater evil that is at play in our country. And I don't want people to label me, a Russian asset, which is why I said what I said at the beginning of this, right? But if you go look at some of the rhetoric that comes out from Vladimir Putin or other people in regards to Western democracy and who actually controls those institutions,
Yep.
It kind of makes sense then why our federal government and intel agencies would work to now, if you see online, label Russia and China and all of these people the greatest threat to democracy in America, when 5 months before his death, 3 months before his death, Charlie Kirk was laying it out plainly, no, it's not the intelligence agencies. It's not, China or Russia. It's actually the intelligence agencies that are our greatest threat. And so it's textbook disinformation, textbook doublespeak. And right now is the time for people to think about what this is worth to them. Do you want to continue watching your UFC fight and gambling for the rest of your life, or do you want to live life the way that God intended, that is free and in a nation that he entrusted us 250 years ago? If we can keep it, right, it's up to us. It's not up to, no one's coming to save us, and that's kind of why I'm saying what I'm saying now, because it's now or never. And for 13 years, I had a hand in producing content that I thought would eventually go on to help make a change and save this nation. And I think it did up to a point, and then it became too dangerous. And now it's being weaponized to suppress free thought, to suppress questions. And ultimately, as Charlie Kirk himself said, questions are the most dangerous thing to an illegitimate regime, right? And again, I just want to state this for the record too. Like, anytime we would go to a campus, Charlie Kirk's thing was disagreements come to the front of the line.
Yeah. And
I don't think we've seen that principle lived out by a single person in that organization since his death.
No, did you know? So, well, at least for Erica Kirk too, on her Bible in 365 podcast that she does once a month. She did it yesterday with James Cadiz, who's a Zionist who actually is best friends with a general and a major in the IDF. He's also the one that has the connection to Bibi Netanyahu's brother and Victor Marx. It's insane, but
it's just one big happy family, isn't it?
It's nuts, right?
And maybe that's the turning point family she was talking about in that interview. Maybe that's the one, because she definitely doesn't treat people like me as family, even though I was there before she ever was. So I don't know, man. It's weird.
Yeah. She had her, which is crazy. There's so many times we're saying things like, I want to hit two things at once. At her, what was it? When she was at CLS, was it her CLS speech? When she was like, I was there from the beginning. I watched the blood, sweat, and tears.
Oh, yeah. That's why I quote tweeted it and it went viral. I was like, you didn't build anything. You married into this.
Yes.
Yeah. No, you can.
She's a revisionist, bro. Just like all of them are.
They're literally trying to rewrite history.
Yes.
It's what happened after World War II, and it's what's happening right now. And I refuse to let them do it 100%. To a man that I worked very closely with. And again, I had nothing to gain from Charlie Kirk. I believed in him because of who he was and the kind of man that he was and the vision that he had for this 100%. Country. I worked very closely with him for my entire young adult life. And I was not put in a position of government. I was not brought into the administration. I was not brought into their fold, right? And there's a reason for that. It's because people like me and Charlie are threatening to the regime. And they used Charlie, they used his brilliance and his intelligence to get them elected, because they knew without him, they wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
And then the moment that they knew he would threaten what they actually wanted to do to this country and to us, they betrayed him and they executed him. And in the process, they warned all of his friends, you better not get out of line. And I think, to put it as plainly as that for your viewers, especially on YouTube and stuff, like, it needs to be heard. That is what happened. And until Tyler Robinson, until there's that's what happened. And we need to say that, and that needs to be the leading narrative, because historically speaking, the lone shooter always gets proven to be some Fed slop, and there's always a deeper narrative, and that's what Charlie Kirk himself died asking the questions of. He did not die giving a campaign speech. He did not die, trying to get someone elected. So to say that Charlie Kirk would forever just want Republicans to be elected is a lie. Like, no. That's not the core of who he was. Charlie Kirk was the man who went to a college campus to engage the youth and said, disagreements come to the front of the line. Let's hash this out. Let's get to the truth, because truth matters and Christ is real. And what are the implications of that? He was about to get there and they didn't let him.
Yeah.
And we'll see where this goes, but I'm not going to let it happen. I refuse to.
Yeah. And like, so if you just look at any of the events that they've had since Charlie's assassination, they make sure to have like their own, you know, pre-written questioners that ask the questions, and then they pull the mic, right? Like they did at the Andrew Colvett, JD Vance thing. Erica Kirk on her show, they have the super chats turned off. It's alive. You can watch live. Super chats turned off. You know why? You can't control who asks a question.
Well, she's made enough money. She doesn't need super chats. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, but it is interesting. I think that people that are
it is
motivated by money, that do want money, they're like, we do want money,
but we'd rather control the narrative.
Yes.
Yep, exactly. That's what these people care about more, is controlling the narrative and the truth, which shows you that they don't stand for truth, right?
Yes.
Again, they say one thing, they do another. Actions speak a whole lot louder than words.
100%.
And people seem to have forgotten that. And you know, just because someone like Gary Melton, who has thousands of followers on Twitter, who never once cared about Charlie Kirk before he died, gets on there and tries to act like an expert on things, great. Why? You have to go to the root of these. Don't get caught up in the distraction. Go to the magician and go and figure out what the trick being played actually is. Yep. Don't focus on what's happening. Go to the magician himself and figure out what's happening.
Yeah, he didn't believe in the 30-outs. Like he has his own.
He's such a fraud, dude. These people are all frauds. They're all phonies, and the problem is they're all propped up by one another. So it looks like society supports them, when in reality, if there were more people talking as articulately and plainly and calmly, quite frankly, as I am about these issues, and not getting into spaces and just shouting them down, we would probably not see what we're seeing right now. But unfortunately, you know, I hope this video doesn't get suppressed. I hope people clip it and send it and, you know, post it under these people, because it's the truth. It's these people are frauds, they're liars, you're demons, and Christ is king, and none of you stand for truth based on the way you're acting. It's just, you can say you do, that's great, prove it. You know, it's much harder to prove that you stand for something. And everyone who claims to stand for Charlie Kirk, you're not. I actually am, and you can fact check me on that all you want, but like, you are not waging war on the deep state. You're not talking about the deep state because you're all scared, and you all know the truth that Charlie was about to unmask, because we all know the truth, because it's the truth. That's how the truth works. You don't need evidence when it's the truth, because it's the truth. And I think we all know the truth of what is going on. People are just too afraid to speak up and do something about it. If I have to be the first person to kind of say something, I will. All right, I lost my job 2 weeks into speaking out because of this stuff. I'm not in the best place financially, but it's worth it. This is because, again, if we lose first principles, if we lose this country, then a job doesn't matter. I can't sit in an office and cut a video my entire life knowing that this country is being stolen under Christians' noses. I can't do it. I can't in good faith sit by and do that. So that is my motivation. Again, I just want to make that clear for your viewers. Like, I'm not in this for anything but that, truly. Like that is my why, that is my drive. Charlie gave it to me, and I watched them take that from him. And if I'm gonna do what they say they're doing, carry on his legacy. But I feel like I'm actually doing it better. Not to toot my own horn, but again, I keep posting videos of him because that's what this is about for me.
Yeah. And going back to that, like, who do you think? I mean, what is your overall theory, opinion as to who really is behind it? And, you know, from the very top down to all the way, whoever had proximity to him, you know, I think an opportunity. Terrell Farnsworth maybe had to be involved to some degree, right? With, depending on what you think about the motive death was.
Yeah, I think it starts with your motive. I think it starts with what you believe the motive was. And then from there, you look at who benefited the most, right? And from there, I think we can see that Israel and Turning Point USA and its associates have benefited the most, right? And the administration. Those three people. The left has not benefited the most. So that's why I say that the left is a conspiracy. Like that the left killed Charlie Kirk is a conspiracy theory.
That is,
it's not true. The left didn't kill Charlie Kirk is a conspiracy theory because of everything I've just laid out for the last hour.
Yep.
So as far as what I truly think happened, I don't know, and I don't particularly care, because I don't think it matters too much. What I think does matter is noticing what has happened and everyone who's benefited, and calling that out head on. And then from there, I think, as we've seen with people like Blake Neff, the more that we pressure these people, the more we're going to get to the truth. The more we know, the more we know that now Andrew Colvett was in talks with the FBI beforehand, right? And so, again, we just got to keep asking the questions. Who didn't do their job that day and why? Once we figure that out, we'll get to a deeper question. Okay, who were they working for? Why were they working for them? What's the deeper, right? Again, just keep asking questions. When you get an answer, ask another one. And don't let them distract you. Don't let them label you anything. You are a patriotic American for doing that. You're not an enemy of the state. You're not a terrorist. You're not working for a foreign government because you want to know what happened to Charlie Kirk. When you notice 4 people benefiting the most are the same people telling you to shut up. That's not anti-American. That's very patriotic. It's very revolutionary, actually. Yeah. And so, again, to answer your question, I don't know. I look at Turning Point USA, who's made billions of dollars in the wake of his death. I look at Andrew Colvett and Blake Neff, who are, inheriting his platform. But I don't even view what they're doing at this point as personal gain. I view it as an intentional destruction of the largest weapon against the deep state. And I think that it is managed decline. That's why I put out the tweet today, calculated destruction, because these statements are so blatantly false and so blatantly against what Charlie used to stand for. They are trying to get this past our generation. So then in the next generation, they will have control of the next generation. And that's the point I was trying to make earlier. Charlie was the weapon that they have now got. And they will brainwash your children forever. If they don't do it in the schools, they'll now use Turning Point to do it. Right. And that was supposed to be the opposite. It was supposed to be, you're being brainwashed to come to Turning Point.
Yes.
Well, now it's like the opposite. Turning Point is propping up the establishment. It just seems like I don't even know what it is. The Bolsheviks. I don't know. Like it's weird. And I think we need to be talking about that, because if we don't, history shows that things might happen. And as far as who's involved, I think that there's potentially a theory that I've heard that maybe they were trying to fake the assassination. But again, I don't see that being in the nature of Charlie's character. Charlie was the type of man who was willing to walk into the arena and take in people head on. And so maybe there is a thread that he was aware of the threats and walked in willingly. Right. And maybe, he always said he would die young and that his death would spark a movement. But I think that, again, it goes back to what movement, and his movement was not just to, indefinitely elect Republicans. His movement was to fundamentally reshape America for America, and in the way that Christ wants us to. Not bombing schoolgirls in the Middle East, not protecting Jeffy Epi and his list, right? And I think that is the core of it. And so I again, because I know a lot of these people personally, I don't really like to get into the who done it, because I don't really care, because for me it also kind of breaks my heart, like to see that none of these people who I trusted and spent a lot of time with, traveled the country with, slept in hotel rooms with, even, like, are having the courage to do what I am now. And that makes me ask a deeper question as to, how evil this evil is that we're facing. Because I know everyone's not a bad person. I'm not accusing everyone in Turning Point USA of being a bad person. I know that there are good-hearted people. They're just like me, who believe in truth, who are Christian, who loved Charlie. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because it breaks my brain why I haven't seen more of them asking these questions. So then I ask why, right? I don't care. It breaks my heart. It frustrates me. But then I go, why? What is the evil we are up against? How evil is it? And do people even comprehend that, right? And that's where I feel like the angle I'm coming at this from is very unique. I think that's why I've had a little bit of success here in a month or so. So I don't know, man. It's a lot, and it's, especially for me, it's been a lot to process. I've been working very hard to try and keep myself grounded in reality.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to hone in on it too, like the why, either they're this evil and a lot of people are involved, and it's just like, literally, I was talking about it with my wife the other day, like they're the most evil and it's just so freaking dark. Or I don't know, like they're being threatened, they're being bribed, they're being blackmailed, they're afraid for their own life. It's really hard to find out right now, but I agree that as long as we keep asking questions, and that's what Charlie Kirk said too, you just got to keep asking questions. It's the only thing that keeps you free, that we can hopefully, I said this like a couple months ago, I'm going to be so pissed if we make it to 9/10/2026 and we don't know anything really more than we did, And
look at JFK, we won't. I mean, again, you're expecting the same people who pulled this off to investigate it. It's never going to happen.
We're never gonna get a public government admission, just like we still don't have one for JFK. And Charlie was pushing for that too. He's like, release the files, right, about JFK.
And they posted that video of him like 80 times now, where it's just who benefited?
People
Ask
know
the same
about
questions.
Charlie like we know about JFK. It's like we know it wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald. We know Israel's involved. We know there was more than one shooting. It wasn't from the, book depository. There was like probably
But we didn't find that out until 60 years later.
Correct.
And that's kind of the point I'm bringing up
Yes.
is when people get on Twitter and they say, it's been 200 days since Charlie Kirk's assassination and we've gotten no new evidence. It's like, bro, it took 60 years for us to get the truth on JFK.
Yeah.
So forgive me for applying a little pressure 250 days out of the largest and most public execution our nation has ever witnessed.
Yeah, this was
sorry.
This is way more public.
That's again double speak. It is not insane to ask questions less than a year out of an event when it took 60 years for our nation to give us the truth on JFK, and even then they redacted half of it.
Yeah.
So I don't care. Like it's a lie. It's double speak. It's very easy to speak, like to tear down when you don't get caught up in their distraction. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, one of the other things that I was asking myself is not only who had the most to gain with Charlie dying, who had the most to lose if he stayed alive?
It's the same people who are benefiting right now. And,
That's
and
what
it
I'm
goes
saying.
to the
That's what's interesting.
Yeah, and so I think that there's multiple, how do I want to say this, like streams of interests that you can trace, right? Like the Israel lobby is one, the deep state's another, Turning Point Corporate's another. And I think that to think that all three were not working together is again naive. Now that we know that Andrew Colvett and the FBI were working together, and Turning Point USA basically put the Trump administration into office. So, that's a naive belief to have to begin with. But they were also the three that had the most to lose, because I think Charlie would realize that these people were not who they told him they were, and we're all realizing that in real time. And they are now labeling anyone who calls them out on it an enemy of the state, a terrorist. That is textbook dictatorship, authoritarian regime, authoritarian rhetoric, right? And so it's a tragedy. Not only was Charlie betrayed, the average American who put these people in the office was. And again, I go back to what Charlie said. What they did to Trump in Butler was what they want to do to you. What they did to Charlie is what they will ultimately do to you if they have the chance. Right. The problem is Charlie trusted that Trump was on our side and that these people were on our side. And I don't know whether they got bought out. I don't know whether they were all evil from the beginning. Quite frankly, it doesn't matter. They did not do the right thing in the hour of crisis, and they continue not to. And they continue to bow to not Christ, not Americans. They continue to bow to the synagogue of Satan, and we just need to call it as it is. 100%.
I want to play the video, and we're going to continue, but I need to get through a couple super chats before it piles up too far, and then we're like way too far behind.
Do you think, bro?
All right, we have Chaz Marin. Jesus Christ is the only way, only truth, and the only way to heaven. Christ is King. I agree 100%. Thank you for your donation.
Based, I agree.
Whimsisms. Although Charlie suffered the worst fate, it wasn't just about him, also about destroying the organizational structure that could move as one unit. Yep. Thank you, Matt Bell, for becoming a member. Quick gaslighting us. I like that handle. This is what it sounds like when people are telling the truth. God has got this. Thank you for your bravery, Matt. Thank you for your bravery. Thank you for all you do. Christ is King. Thank you, man. We got Sunshine 77. They are using religion as the Trojan horse. Yeah. I mean, like, they're definitely hijacking our faith and spirituality.
They are not the Judeo-Christian, and this is what I'm writing about in my book. Guys, this goes back far. This is like Protestant Revolution, like Protestant Reformation, in my opinion, like a satanic deception of Christianity that has resulted in what we're seeing now, right? You can kind of trace that. So I agree completely.
Have you heard of Jay Dyer? Do you know who Jay Dyer is?
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah. He's actually part of the reason that got me on this thread to begin with.
Good. Did you see his most recent episode with Tucker?
No, I didn't know he did one with Tucker. That's awesome.
Last week. You got to go watch it.
That's really cool.
I love Jay Dyer.
Yeah, I'm wearing like an Orthodox shirt now. He's like part of the reason that got me onto Orthodoxy and all that. So
yeah. Wait, I missed one. This guy got to get on more podcasts. Well, he's starting his own.
Potentially. I'm trying, dude. I made the YouTube channel yesterday. I did Stu Peters a couple days ago. Go check that out.
Project Constitution yesterday.
Send this to people so they can see the things I'm saying. So they know I'm not crazy. They know I'm not a blatant, anti-Semite, and I'm actually just trying to save this country like anyone else should be.
Yeah, and I'll talk more with you too off camera about developing your show if you want to do that, man, because we need more people like you and myself out here doing this. So And yeah, anyone that wants to clip this show in context to combat whatever those crazy
or out of context, I'll tear it down. I don't care. Lie on my name.
I mean, that's true. Then you can
the
go,
truth over here.
You just right back at him. Okay, I did that one. We got a couple more. We got Winnie PDX. Do we have any insight on Charlie's parents? Do they buy the Fed slop narrative?
I actually have a perspective. I don't know them. I've never met them. Allegedly, potentially, Charlie's dad was involved in the creation of the Trump Tower. I don't know. It hasn't been fact checked. I've heard one thing. Someone fact checked me the other day. So I don't know whether that's true or not. There's a potential that is. What I think is interesting, though, is if we think that all of these people are federal agents and or actors or whatever, and we've looked at what's happened in the trial, the senior director of development for Turning Point USA, Stacey Sheridan, was managing Charlie's parents. So why is the director of fundraising, donors at Turning Point, managing Charlie's parents at the trial? That just seems, shouldn't she be doing her job as director? Why are donors also in that same week reaching out to me, giving me, Jewish mystic texts that they saw in the same building where Charlie's studio is? There's just questions I have there. And then I think it's interesting as well that Erica Kirk is now speaking on behalf of his biological family. That to me speaks volumes. I don't know if they do or not. I don't know if they're even allowed to let us know whether they do or not. Again, right. We cannot comprehend the levels of evil we're dealing with. Look at what they did to Charlie. To think that they wouldn't force someone's parents to just shut up, I think is pretty naive.
Yep.
And they have the power to do it, like they do. And look at what they did to their son. To say it that bluntly, it's hard to hear, but like, these people want to kill us all. 2030 is a great reset for a reason.
Ask yourself this question. The 3 times that I've seen Charlie's parents since the assassination, right? Tarmac, okay, on the tarmac, who was closer to the parents, Stacey or Erica? Stacey. The White House, when Erica was receiving the Medal of Freedom, who was closer to the parents, Stacey or Erica? Stacey was. And then at the courthouse, who was there escorting them in? Stacey.
And at times it felt like Stacey was almost like put in the company to manage and handle Charlie, kind of baby Charlie. I don't know. It like when she entered a room, dude, like the air left the room. I kid you not. I was like, you don't talk to Stacey. You don't ask what she does. Like it was very much don't ask, don't tell. Like it was weird, right? And I noticed that from the onset. And so that's where I go back to like, this was not something that just happened overnight. This was not something that just took place in 2025. Right. This didn't happen after we got the president elected. This was, I think that they identified Charlie as an asset and they used him to get what they wanted. And then the minute they realized he would be a threat,
yes,
they also are using him to further that end goal.
Yep.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
You just have to take a step back, look through history, not remove yourself from history, put yourself in the history book and realize that we will be reading about this one day. It's up to us to define who writes that truth, who defines what happened here. It's up to us to define that. And I waited for 10 months to see if anyone else was going to come out and no one did. And so I did, like people in this proximity. Right. And so, it truly is up to us to rewrite the narrative, to speak truth to power, to not let demons lie on an innocent Christian man's name who isn't even here to correct it.
Yeah. I mean, like they would allow him to be around as long as he was benefiting them. But the moment that he posed any kind of significant risk to them and their future plans, he actually became more beneficial to them dead because they could make him say whatever they want now. And
he became a martyr against the left.
Yeah.
And they can conveniently ignore, the deep state and everything that Charlie was basically sounding the alarm on in the last 6 to 12 months before his death, even as far back as 2023. And it's just so apparently obvious to me what's happening because I was there for so long. I felt a lot of this taking shape early. I didn't know what it was back then. And then in hindsight, it's like, wow, I should have just, because again, I've said this multiple times too, they worked to build a culture in which as an employee, regardless of how long you'd known Charlie, going to talk to him would be seen as an act of subversion. Again, kind of like what they're trying to get the country to believe now, right? Asking questions is anti-American. If I was to go to Charlie and raise anything, it would be anti-Turning Point. It would be all hell would break loose. And this is a guy I met when I was 15 who was 18. Like we met when we were kids.
Wait, so they were like significantly isolating him from people within the
Dude,
organization?
yes, top to bottom.
You had to go through other people.
Yes, that Tyler Boyer had put there himself, dude. That's what I'm saying. He was managed like an asset from top to bottom. Directors, managers, they all were approved by Tyler Boyer. I watched people I was friends with, Matt, who I would be sending Nick Fuentes clips to. We'd be talking about the JQ, all this kind of stuff. Get brought up as a manager overnight, flip like a light switch, just corporate turning point rhetoric. Nope, we got it. And I was like, who are you? We were friends. Like what happened to you people? Like, and like that in and of itself was just weird. And, it's a small instance of it, but yes, like literally the access to Charlie was heavily filtered through Andrew Colvett, Tyler, Marina Minas, other people that were put in positions of directors. And that's also where, Charlie spoke at length about work ethic and how much work ethic meant. And I'm someone who prides myself on my work ethic. Quite frankly, I spent so much time around Charlie. How could you not?
Yeah.
And then I sat there, for years as a young person, and I watched as Tyler brought in people with awful work ethics, and were elevated to positions of influence, directors, managers. And I was sitting there as someone who, as long as I had been there, just kind of did the right thing for the sake of the movement, for the sake of the mission, for Charlie, whatever. And I obviously didn't see the results I was looking for. I never got a chance to kind of make an impact in the way I wanted to. I made a documentary on the FBI, funny enough, where I interviewed an FBI agent who said that if you don't think the FBI is already monitoring Charlie Kirk or even people like yourself, this is in 2022, then you're not listening to anything I'm saying, right? So I was aware of this long time ago. I felt it. I knew what was going on. I just didn't know how big it was going to be and the connections, right? But Marina's the one who didn't let my video go on YouTube because they were afraid of it being demonetized, right? And so then it's like, you don't actually care for the truth. You just care for money, whatever else. But yes, all these people were installed slowly over time, over the years, by Tyler. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. You're on both sides, Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action, your career is made or broken by Tyler Boyer, your relationship with him. And I think that the financial aspect of Turning Point USA is coupled with that. There were a lot of people, dude, they would just create, they would go director. And then if they had someone they wanted to make a director, they would just create senior directors. And so now they had like 2 people getting director salaries. And it's just, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. And I think that Charlie, who was so isolated from the company he built, that had become managed by people that Tyler himself put there, started to kind of catch on to that after the election. I think that during the election, he was prioritizing saving the West and putting people that he thought he could trust into positions of power to take the action that he himself thought was necessary to save this country. And then after the election, he was like, okay, all right, let me look at what's actually going on. Let's kind of take a look at this Doge audit. And he didn't get a chance to do that. Now it doesn't matter because they've made billions since his death. But I think before he was starting to get onto that. And I think that, again, you ask who had the most to lose. It's Tyler Boyer and everyone that he had installed in a position of management that was not put in place to be effective and to advocate Turning Point USA effectively. Rather, it was put in place to manage it. And I think we've seen that now.
Yeah. He was about meritocracy. That was one of the things, it's about it's not about what race, gender, nationality, whatever you are. It's about you earning your way to the top or to wherever you are, right? Just earning your place, just on merit, right? And you look at, and so Matthew Tucciarone said the same thing about Tyler Boyer and the people that he brought in as well. They weren't people that earned their way to the top by working hard. They earned their way by being people that could be controlled by them.
Loyalists. Yeah, blind loyalists. If you didn't ask questions, you were elevated. If you're like me, if you're like Aubrey, if you're like Matt, if you are like Charlie, quite frankly, if you question things, they don't advance you. And it's funny because you talk about delivering results. In spite of that video I made not going on FBI, it ran to 500,000 views in 7 days on Rumble. It's still Turning Point USA's most watched video on Rumble. If you go check it right now, sorted by views.
What is it called?
It's called FBI Whistleblower, The Enemy Within. Go to the Rumble and search it, change it to most viewed. My video should pop right up unless they've taken it down. But it also went on to win a Gold Telly Award that year, 2023, for a documentary. And at the time I was 23 years old, I think. And was a producer, I think. And I went in around the time that they were doing reviews and raises, and I was like, hey guys, here's some results I delivered. Can I get a reasonable salary for a producer now? Because at the time it was about 20 grand below.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a young person. It's a grassroots organization. I'm sacrificing a lot in spite of this because I believe in these people. I trust them, whatever. I just delivered an award-winning documentary that racked 500,000 views in a week. Can I get the rate of a salary for a producer in Arizona? The average rate. I wasn't asking for anything insane, right? I was asking for the base salary rate of a producer in Arizona. And they laughed me out of the office. And at that point, I was just like, all right, cool. I kind of see what's going on here. At that point, we had a new director brought in to production specifically, who has a very sketchy background. He spent years in Europe running drugs and, was very open about that. And then, he comes to Turning Point. And now in hindsight, I'm like, cool. So did you like make a deal with the feds? And like, are you now being used? Like, again, it's just questions I have, right? Because, there's been videos of him talking to Chinese state media as well. So it's just like,
is he still there?
Yeah. His name's Marcus Wada. He's the director of the new documentary that's coming out. That's produced by Turning Point USA Productions and a bunch of people I used to work with. Terrell Farnsworth is also on the credits list.
What is it about?
It's a documentary on Charlie's life, but if I was to bet, they're going to wait.
That one.
I bet they're going to wait to release until after the verdict. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. I want to know where all the footage from the cameramen that day that aren't VI guys, that are Turning Point USA Productions camera ops.
The front left and the back left.
I want to know where their footage is and why we haven't seen it yet. I want to see it all. I want it to be played in court. If it's not, that indicates a deep state cover up, in my opinion.
Dude, so I've gone back and looked at all of the campus events from 25 from the spring, campus tours, and then like 24. The front left camera, and the back left camera on that day, because sometimes it's on the other side. It depends on the setup of the campus. Obviously, you know that, right? But those two right there, I think would give us way more answers than.
Dude, and I said this the other night. I talked to the girl who was on the camera.
The one in the front, right?
I talked to her the week of, because again, 9 days after was when Candace was already coming out questioning things. It's very much in her nature. I knew that's what she was going to do. When Charlie died, I knew what was going to happen. I was like, they're going to use this to label Candace a crackpot anti-Semite, and then they're going to roll out crackdowns on speech, because that's where Charlie was going. And I think
they are trying to do that.
And then we see that happening right now. And so, I was already afraid of that happening, but at the same time, I was also very skeptical, wanted to kind of trust things, at least initially, as we all do, right? As we all do.
Yeah.
So, the week of, I was kind of skeptical of the things Candace was saying. I was talking to her, and, the text that she has said has always stood out to me, which is, if she wants to see what happened, play my tape, play my camera, play my angle. And again, I said it the other night. I'll say it again, like, roll the tapes. Like, it's not hard. We know it exists. I know the footage exists. I was behind that camera every day practically for a year. And, I would love to see that, to just, again, if you want to call me a conspiracy theorist for saying it's not a bullet, prove it to me. Show me the footage that Jordan's camera was running. Show me that footage. Show us all. If you guys stand for truth and you care for truth, prove it. Roll the tape. We've all seen the video already. It's not going to affect us anymore. That it's in a little bit higher quality. In fact, it will probably help us all put this thing to bed once and for all. If you want us to shut up about it, roll the tape, Turning Point.
Yeah, we just
want
answers.
Terrell, no, I want Terrell to hear this. Terrell,
go ahead.
Play the tape. Because by not, you are all indicating, if not guilt, complicitness in this. Because why haven't you, for the sake of truth, for the sake of Charlie Kirk, who gave his life for truth, just played the video that is as close as the camera I'm recording from now was to Charlie? It would end this entire debate, but he hasn't, in my opinion, because this is a deep state cover-up to roll in speech about anti-Semitism, and all the speech that we're having online right now is all being documented. We're all being put on lists. Like this part in our nation's history, friends, it's going to get darker. I promise. It doesn't get brighter from here. It is up to you all, including myself. I can't do it alone. To stand up. It's time. Like, I'm sorry. And again, I'll say it again. Turning Point, play the videos, play the audio, please. I'm begging you. You guys have it. Release it.
So, couple questions. Have you spoke to the girl? Like, you can say, like, if she wants to, like, not have.
I did recently, and I never got a response. And that's the thing. I've noticed my relationships with these people since coming out have pretty much ended. So
these two cameras are not Visual Impulse. Those are Turning Point.
No, the two under the tent are. They're the ones externally around the tent, the other
Yeah.
guys running around with cameras and
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
Those guys are I would imagine Turning Point USA Productions.
Got it.
And that's where I'm saying I think some of this footage is going to be in that documentary, and I think they're waiting for a verdict.
Oh,
because if footage makes it in that documentary that wasn't admitted as evidence, we can't go back once a verdict is made, right? But what we can do is call for evidence beforehand, and that's what I'm trying to do. Is I want to see that footage from every camera that was there. There's at least 5, I think, that I've counted. The one behind Charlie, the 2 facing him, and 2 to the left of the tent.
Yes.
I want to see all that footage. It should just all be released publicly.
Yeah.
Put it on the internet, put it in a Dropbox folder, let us all watch it. Why haven't you? Because you're hiding something.
100%.
Honest people don't hide things like this. And you can say that you don't want to corrupt the case. Okay, is that because you're trying to convict an innocent man wrongfully and in a kangaroo court? Because this seems like the one thing that would shut everyone from Candace Owens to Baron Coleman to you to me up.
Yeah.
I just want to see the footage, guys. It's not hard.
It's for answers. We want answers. That's why we want to see it. We're not, and they try to that's
what I'm saying. It's double speak. It's akin to left. They hate America and they want us all in camps.
They're like, you're so sick. You want to watch that. Anyone that wants to watch that is so.
I don't actually. I care a lot about what happened. And if you want me to believe it's a bullet, I'm going to need to see it entering his neck in 4K because we have the technology to do that. And the fact that you guys aren't is kind of insane. But.
And I said the same thing about if something happened to my wife, as hard as it would be, I would not do what Erica did and say, I don't want to see, which is weird because then she goes into the hospital and the surgeon's like, you don't want to see how the bullet ravaged his neck. And she goes, get out of the way. I want to see what they did to my husband. And it's like, okay,
they contradict themselves every time.
But I would want to see the video so that I could know that the official narrative is what the videos capture, right? I would want to know how did my partner die and who, because then I could start tracing it back from that. Okay, now I have a good understanding of how they died. This is what all these people are saying. It doesn't match with that. It's going to give you a starting point. But she, in my opinion, probably she already knows. So that's why she's not interested.
Yeah. Also, she's the one who benefited the most off of his death. Nobody knew who Erica Kirk was before, unless you were kind of vaguely associated with Turning Point. Yeah. And now everyone in the world has heard her name. Yeah. To say that she wants the truth on this, I think is hilarious because we all know she doesn't, because the truth would expose who she really is. Yeah. And I know parts of that I haven't made public yet. I will be at some point. But again, there's a lot that people don't know. There's a reason that they're working to keep it private, and it exposes a greater evil. I think that many are either afraid to call out publicly, or they're just unaware of. In both cases, enough is enough, and it's time to start. It's time to start shouting from the rooftops for my fellow Christians, because I don't want us all to suffer at the hands of these demons anymore. Yeah. It's kind of insane.
Well, and her mom's connected to Brad Parscale, and
it's one big happy family, and they tell you who they are when they say things. They just use double speak. I think when Erica said it's one big Turning Point family, I think she's implying to the federal government connections that helped her become the CEO of the largest pro America anti-deep state group that is now propping up the establishment and not doing anything that we elected it to do. So I think it's pretty clear when you lay it out like that, and then people will come in and try and say, I'm attacking Charlie, as if I wasn't there up until 4 weeks before he died and was the Charlie kid in high school who was getting attacked. You guys all came into this when it was lucrative. I was in this game when it wasn't cool to be a conservative, and I'm still a conservative. I just don't align myself with you guys anymore. So I'm not going to call myself a conservative anymore. I'm just an American. I'm a Christian, and Christ is king. And you guys are acting in ways that are not aligned with Christ at all. So I don't know.
Let me read a couple more and then we can get to the video. And then I was actually going to ask you some questions too about you, because you were there when here, I'll stop myself before, because then we'll get into it. Okay. You're a great speaker, Mitchell. That's from Pete's Stronic. I'm so bad at reading handles. It's so bad. Thank you, Mitchell, from Matt Bell. We got good on you, mate. We will both of you, Australian, but this stuff runs deep down here as well. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of good Aussies involved in this. You have Muppet Masher, who took it to Blake Neff the other day on X, and then Matthew St. Baker, and there's some others too. Journey of E says, joining late, but thank you, Mitchell, for speaking out. May God protect, bless you. Also, what's the symbol on your shirt mean?
Yeah, it's an Orthodox cross, and then the FM is just the company that designed it, Finance and Maneuver. They're a local company out here in Scottsdale. Go check them out. They make some really cool anti-government, anti-bank merch. I think all you radicals would love it.
I like the shirt. I'm actually going to look it up too. Next one we got. Hi, Mitchell. Knowing Charlie, do you think he started to sense something off with his team? Also, did Jordan said she would give her footage?
I feel like maybe there was a sense in which Charlie felt that, but I also think that it's one of those things where he had people around him from the beginning that he trusted, and I think that those were the same people who betrayed him, and it was one of those things where he was in too deep. And I think that even as far back as the text he sent Candace, I think he recognized that his impact would ultimately be greater than politics, and we're realizing that, right? For people to call people like Candace or myself crazy for saying the things we are, because we're trying to elevate our national conversation out of the realm of politics, it's very intentional, right? Like it's they don't want us getting out of that realm because it's how they control us. So again, they can label me crazy. I love when people label me anything, because by doing that, you're basically labeling Charlie the same thing, right? And so cool, you can do that, but recognize what you're doing, and in that, use that and use that kind of logic that I just presented to combat this, because it is evil. And no, she didn't say that. She just said that, like, if Candace wanted to, she should look at my camera, which is the principle that I was just trying to echo, which is I think what we all kind of feel, and that's, show the tapes, and we would all love to see the footage. So
right. All right. So we got from Jane Seth Rubert. Can Mitchell tell us about his experiences with Candace and Charlie together? Was he the cameraman during those years when they traveled together?
So I was not. I was actually still very young at that point. I came out since 2018, 2017. So I was 17, 18, still in school. But I was there for a couple of moments. The one I remember most was right after, or maybe it was before, I don't remember the timing, but it was around the time that Candace and Charlie and Kanye were all running together. And I retweeted a tweet on this the other day. You should go find it. I might retweet it again. It's from a guy named John Mappin. He's actually, he's a donor of Charlie's. That's how we connected. And so, he's also saying the same things I am. Again, people who truly knew Charlie from the beginning, we're all kind of on the same side here. This isn't a leftist versus Republican thing. This is right from wrong. This is good from evil. And so them trying to use these labels, I just find it funny, because I'm like, we're not talking about the same things at all here. Like, you guys are playing your fantasy land. I'm living in reality, whatever. But the moment I remember most was, it was right around that time. Kanye West's manager was actually at an event. I was in Washington, D.C. It was the high school summit that they were having, and Kanye's manager was backstage. Candace was about to walk out. I was an intern for Turning Point at this point. And so they had thrown me on AV that day. I wasn't even an AV intern. I was interning for Field. Somehow I ended up on AV. Look where I am now, right? Just, again, divine providence, I guess. But I got to cue the song Ghost Town as Candace walked out with Kanye's manager backstage. And that was like, I was like a 17-year-old. It was like one of the coolest things. And, I didn't necessarily like work up close and personal with them then. That being said, I was in like the same rooms and events as them, and got to see them speak and interact on stage together. And to think that as someone who knew Charlie, even myself, like when I left Turning Point, I went into my exit interview, came out and ran into him, and I was like, hey, can I speak to you for 2 minutes? Thanked him for, everything he had done for me over the years, the opportunities, the employment, whatever. And, kind of told him, wasn't really seeing eye to eye with the company, but, me and you, dude, like, I will always back you, whatever. And it's not like he disowned me, didn't call me a friend, like was like, dude, if you ever want to come back, we'd love to have you. He was a complex individual. He believed in nuance. And that's what frustrates me most about Blake Neff and Andrew Colvett, is like, they're trying to make it seem like him and Candace weren't friends, when, if he was about to leave the Israel lobby, I bet they were about to become really good friends. And that's why, why this is a disinformation war. I'm not going to let them sit here and lie on my friend's name. And they can try and say what they want, that we weren't friends, that we didn't work closely enough, like whatever. I know the relationship we had. I was texting Charlie about my college admissions process as far back as 2017. So that's what friends do. And I feel like what I'm doing right now is what a friend would do for me if I was to end up dead mysteriously. 100%. So after waging war on the federal government too. So, it's again, for you guys you can say you're his friends, you can say you stand for, but your actions and your rhetoric and the words that leave your mouth and the way that you treat others who truly loved Charlie just for who he was, not for what they could gain from him, indicates to me a much greater thing that you all fail to acknowledge every day.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know I kind of went off. I'll let you keep going.
No, you're good. Yeah, John Mappin is who they stayed with when they went to the UK. He's the one that helped them, and that's when she met George. And John is also the one that released the BB letter when they were only releasing little tidbits of it, and they were lying about what Charlie was saying in there. He released the entire thing. So I follow John on X too. I like him. I think he's a really good dude.
Yeah, I actually got connected to him. I was speaking to people on the back end as far back as like November, December.
Oh, really?
I was weighing it because for me, I was like, again, I had just taken this new job with the county. Again, I knew it's politics. I know the risks. I'm not an idiot, right? I'm aware. I've been in this game for half my life. So yeah, I was talking to people. John and I connected a while back, and so now it's just it was too much for me to bear. I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah. Do you think it was? I don't know. Maybe you can't say this, but two questions. Do you think Mikey did reach out through a third person to tell Candace to look more into Andrew? And if you're allowed to, do you know who that was?
I don't know who it was or who it could have been. I know Mikey really well, and he's a really good friend of mine. His actions have, I don't know, not like confused me entirely, but there's just things where I'm very questionable of. I think that much like me, he met Charlie when he was 17 or 18 and got thrust into an even larger position than I had, right? He became his chief of staff at that age, pretty much. And it's a big responsibility.
That's crazy when you think about it with how young and he did.
Well, and I know the story there too. I was actually asked to like give recommendations for that position, and I suggested myself. It's a long story, not relevant. But anyways, like as far as he goes, I think that he's a good kid caught in the middle of something that unfortunately he might not have much control over.
Yeah.
And that's just going off of personal experience and relations. That's how I feel about most every one of these people, even the people that are being named personally. It's why I waited so long to speak out, because I didn't want to ruin decades worth of friendships and relationships I've had over something like this. I thought we were all aligned in vision and motivation and fighting this fight for the same end goal. But it seems like somewhere along the way, something happened. People's values, interests, whatever got co-opted, or they're just too afraid to do anything, or they can't, or they're being controlled, or they're in contracts. I don't know. I don't know a lot of it. I'm just giving you the perspective of, as someone who for years questioned why I wasn't being welcomed into that inner circle, I'm thanking God every day now that I wasn't, that I am in the position I am, because I know I'm on the right side. I know I'm standing with Christ and ultimately where Charlie himself would be standing today.
Yeah, for such a time as this.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's go. You two click. This is incredible. And again, I'm Australian. What do I care? But this will be a legendary convo. Thank you, man. Next one we got Mitchell Manley is the true legacy of Charlie Kirk. Thank you for your courage, Mitchell. Knowing you are stepping into the lion's den for truth. Thank you, Matt, for hosting him. I hope to see much more. Thank you, Angela Brooks. Thank you.
Thank you.
We got Jim Carey. How can we support Mitchell? We love him. How can people support you?
For now, follow me on X, Artifex Memoir.
I actually got you pulled up, so let's go.
I should get something set up here.
Well, also, a Mystic, can you throw his X account in the chat as well, that people can see it and they can go there and then here. And we're going to get to this post in a minute that he just did, but this is Artifex Memoir. This is where you can come and give him a follow. I'm following him. You would click on this. It would say black. It would be black, and it would say follow, and you just got to click on that. Let me go back so I don't lose the post that we have. All right, which we're going to get to that in a second. And then, once you have more set up, like YouTube channel and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just created the channel page yesterday. You can go. You might be able to go subscribe. It's Artifex Memoir on YouTube.
Is it?
There's nothing designed on it. It literally should be up, I think. I don't know if it actually got made. I think I created it. And then I got to work on something I'm writing a book. I'm trying to get merch out as well, like just for White Boy Summer stuff, just little fun things. And then I'll come up with I don't know, like a buy me a coffee. I don't know. You can probably help me out with that. Matt, you probably know more than I do.
Yeah, I'll help you out offline to get all that going.
Cool.
It didn't come up, but maybe I'm spelling it wrong. But I'll
look for it later. Yeah, no worries.
And then we can throw it up in the comment section of the video, because people will ask like where, because some people that aren't watching this live, they're going to watch this afterwards. They're going to ask like, where can we find them? And then I'll throw it in the description. Okay. Who do we got? MSF. What? The irony is, had the left won the presidential election, CK would probably still be alive. Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
That and the MAGA movement would be stronger today because Kamala Harris would be the one dropping bombs in the Middle East. And so that's my perspective, is like the intelligence agencies run the country.
Yes.
And the elections are smoke and mirrors. All of this is just fake. They have the next 4 elections already planned out. They already, like in cities like New York, Mamdani was already going to win regardless of who ran against him. Like all of this is preset. The world is a stage and we are the pawns. So you're 100% correct. I think Charlie would still be alive today. I think the MAGA movement would be stronger today. I also think Charlie would probably have gone on to become president one day if we had not elected Donald Trump. And the irony there is so dark. I don't want to spend too much time on it. But like yeah, you're 100% right. And people, Charlie was the best at saying this kind of stuff. People think that it's one of 2 options, right? We only have left or right, when it's not actually. And that's what MAGA was supposed to be. Like they used Republicans, Charlie himself, Trump even used Republicans because it was a means to an end. It was a means to change this country. It was the most effective means to change this country without a revolution. And they co-opted that. And so now it's like, where do we go from here?
Yeah. I've said it a couple of times, like I'm not advocating for, they'd sooner push us into a civil war than a revolution. But we don't need a civil war. we need, if we need anything, we need a revolution.
We just need to take back this country and government for ourselves. And that's
from
like
the sickos that run it.
And that's what this whole presidency was supposed to be about. That's what I like. Again, I keep going back to it. Charlie trusted these people. We all trusted these people.
Yep.
The people who are now profiting off of, again, this is the most corrupt administration in our nation's history. I know they're using crypto to do it. That doesn't mean it's not still corruption. Just because we're in the digital age, corruption is still corruption. Theft is still theft. And we have to call it like it is. A spade is a spade. Like I'm going to keep it a buck always. That's how I've always been.
Well, and they're going around saying that they're the most transparent organization, administration ever. It's like these pastors that are all affiliated with Erica Kirk. It's like wolves in sheep's clothing. I don't know anything more evil than people that pretend to profess to be Christians and leaders of Christians. And they actually have people's responsibility of their souls, like leading them or not leading them astray, leading them in the right ways of God. And they act like they're good people and they're not. It's just some of the worst people ever. Started channel you too. I'm in. I think we're going to get him to start a channel for sure and get it going. All right. Love the conversation. I agree with all the things. Sending support and prayers. Don't back down. Christ is king and truth is everything. Thank you. Hey, you. I think this is my father-in-law. Yeah. What up, dude? What up, Pops? Son, you and your audience are working at changing the world. Go Max. Love, Pop. Thanks, Pop. We got Lena. Thank you for speaking out. Do you have any insights into Charlie Kirk's relationship with Erica Kirk, especially toward the end? Do you think the rumors of CK discovering something and potentially splitting have any validity?
I want to be very careful how I answer this because I don't want to get sued.
Always start with my opinion.
I think, and my opinion based only on my own personal observations and experiences and motives and coming from a broken family myself is I think that there is reason to believe that potentially. I think that there is reason to assume maybe that might be a potential motivation, right? I don't know for sure, obviously, but I think if we look through history, in any murder case, which this isn't the typical murder case, this is obviously a political assassination, but in any murder case, typically the first subjects are the husband or wife and the close circle, friends. I don't feel like any of those people were properly investigated by the FBI.
No.
Now I've laid out my reasoning why I don't think they were ever investigated, why I don't think they will ever be investigated, because again, this is one big happy family that we are not in. And Charlie himself kind of built and put in place, but I think he was also on the outside of there at the end. When it comes to their personal relationship, I always questioned it. I didn't, having known Charlie from when he was 18, 19, I didn't see Erica as the type of person that he would partner with. I think that I've said this before, I'll say it again. I think that, for us to assume that Charlie Kirk, for as intelligent as he was and effective as he was, could not have been honeypotted, I think is very naive. I think that if we look at how intelligence assets work, whether it's China or Russia or America, they have a history of putting women in the lives of very effective men and using them to bring about their downfall. It's biblical. It is. And so I think that, for people to label me, I hate Erica Kirk, I don't particularly care. I never liked her much, but I just never got it. I never really understood it. And, I say the same thing. I'll say it again. She went in for a job interview and is now the CEO. And the person who put her in that position is Tyler Boyer.
Yes.
And Tyler Boyer and Erica Kirk have known each other since 2015. I was in the room when they met, allegedly, or maybe they knew each other before. I don't know. It was at the first Trump rally that ever took place in 2015. They knew each other
before then.
Yeah. So, and so I was there, right? I was in the same room. There's a photo of it on my profile. This goes back over 10 years. Right. And so these people all knew each other. I think the intelligence agency viewed Charlie as an effective tool to bring us to this point. Truly, to 2030, the Great Reset. We're here. Like this is it. And Charlie was in the way of that. At the same time, he brought us right up into the point to bring about enough chaos to usher it in under our noses. That's how I feel. So I don't know. That's kind of a longer question on Erica, but I think she's just one of the many pieces of the puzzle that the deep state is using.
Yep. So I mean, I definitely think they knew each other before, because there was a phone call that Tyler said took place in order to get her there at the rally. So they didn't meet at the rally, right? There was this phone call that they both had referenced. They both have told different stories about when they knew each other, how long they knew each other. And then Erica actually refers to him as family friends, like knowing each other for a long time. She's on tape saying that. So, and then we have Tyler trying to get Erica to meet Charlie 3 times. And then the 4th is the New York Bob's Bills Burgers, right? Lori Franzfeld tries it in Israel. That's when, Erica sees him in a line, but never gets to meet him. And then there is 2 at the headquarters in Arizona where one time she doesn't meet him, one time she does. It's just briefly. And then there's one more.
What's crazy is I feel like I might have been there, because if those were at events, probably and stuff, were. It probably was. And that's I remember them. Oh my God. I remember them being Charlie has to meet someone. Dude, I feel like I was there that night. Probably actually. Because it was a big deal. Like Charlie potentially getting married. Again, it was a big deal. They were talking about it back then for sure. I remember you saying that. I've had this happen now multiple times where talking to people will bring up stuff that I have memory hold just due to 13 years in this place. I feel like I was there, dude.
That's why. And Matt Tusserone just messaged me. We definitely got to do one, the 3 of us, with you and Matt, because you have this TPUSA inside track knowledge, and then he has the Turning Point Action inside track knowledge. And I just want to get you guys 2 together talking about different things and getting your, different memories. And it'll I think it'll trigger a memory that you didn't know you had. And it will pop up kind of like right now, what happened, All right, brutally honest. When was the last time you are able to talk to Charlie?
I mean, it wasn't like we had day-to-day conversations much ever. But I would say probably one of the last tour stops we did, which I think for me was April. It was the last campus tour we did before the summer kind of kicked off, and then I did the donor event for the faith event for them in August.
The pastors
the Pastors Summit. Yeah, I was there for that. So it was probably sometime around April or whatever, and it probably wasn't anything substantial. It was probably just a passing joke about something a leftist had said, right? But again, we were had known each other for so long. It's not like we needed to talk often,
right? Well, and keep in mind too, people, that they were keeping Charlie so freaking busy. Right. And insulated, right? Being able to that. And that's the thing they do too, restricting access to someone as privilege, and only certain people get that privilege.
It's textbook like manipulation too. If you look at
100%.
if you look at the characteristics, dude, they literally got him to move his company from Illinois to Arizona.
Tyler did that.
Talk about isolating someone from their family and friends, bro. You move him all
Tyler,
yeah.
And he knew that he could manipulate the political system there too.
Course,
like all of his strings that he could pull is out in Arizona. And who else was out there? Erica.
Yeah. I know, dude. Trust me.
Freaking A,
Trust me, I know.
What's your new channel called, Mitchell? I just tried to look it up. Do you know how many YouTube channels are called Artifex, dude?
Hang on. Let me see if I can find it right now. I might be able to send you a link actually if I'm signed in here. We could.
Yeah, please do, and then I'll put it up for everybody.
Yeah, there we go. Here, let me. YouTube Studio. Is that where I gotta go? Hang on.
You pull it up while I read these, okay?
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So the new TPUSA compound and collecting data from all applicants and the geofencing and data centers. And now we have Section 219 to merge the IDF with our military. Now we know who's infiltrated the deep state, Israel. Yeah.
Bingo.
So the Show Faith by Works FARA filing, the Clock Tower X FARA filing, both are through the Foreign Ministry of Israel. The Clock Tower X, and that's why if you guys want to know if your church is a good church, you need to go to the Show Faith by Works FARA filing, and it has just hundreds of churches listed on there. That if you go into those churches on Sundays, your phone is going to be grafted into this technology where it's going to be sending you pro-Israel, anti-Palestinian propaganda, and they're going to track you, geofence, and Christian universities are on the FAR filing too. It's not just churches and all the TPUSA events after Charlie's death. So
I just sent it to you, Matt. It should be up. Yeah. I just got my profile picture there too. It's the same one on Twitter. So.
All right. Oh, awesome. I'm going to copy and paste this into my email and then I can pull it up. We'll go to the next one. Here we got shout out your new channel, Mitchell. Okay. I'm doing it, guys. Multitasking. Here we go. Because then I can pull it up through my email. I don't have my phone connected to my computer, but here we go. I'm going to pull it up. Give me a second.
By the way, like 2 days ago, I said I wasn't starting a channel or a podcast. So this is just like the people want it. I guess I'll do something. I don't know. Like, we'll see
no, you should have told me ahead of time because this is the perfect time to do it, man. So that we can boost it for everybody. Here we go. All right. So you guys come here. I just subscribed. I could say I'm your first subscriber, dude. There we go.
Dang, there you go. You just earned a free White Boy Summer t-shirt once I get them made.
When you guys come here, don't just hit subscribe. You also click it again, and you have to click the all button, or else it won't let you know when he does his future lives or post videos. Okay. And then, yeah, let me go back here. I'll remove, and then I'm going to put this back on because we are going to get to this video. I got to see how far behind am I on all of these. Okay, I'm not far behind. We're almost caught up. All right, and then we're going to watch the video with Charlie talking about Elon Musk, and then we're going to hop to that X post. All right, here we go. Thank you for speaking genuinely to Charlie. You are also his David, Mitchell. Christ is king. That's a really good compliment, actually, because that was something that he said to Candace Owens. So that's a really good compliment. Love you from Australia. New follower here, Matt. Thanks. Oh, good citizen. Thank you. We got quite a few Aussies that follow us. I just have to say, any Aussie following us, I hope you're not an Aaron Milan fan. Please don't be an Aaron Milan fan. He's the worst, dude.
And hey, Aussies, don't feel like just because y'all are over there, y'all are out of this fight. This is good versus evil. This is not America. Like this is much larger than anything, and I think we all know that. And we appreciate your support because
they're doing it in all the Western countries.
Yeah, it's happening across the world, and we all know this, and it's happening in different ways. And these demons are very deceptive, and that's what they're doing. So the more we can all band together as one in Christ alone, regardless of political party, regardless of national identity, the stronger we will be. So thank you, truly.
Yeah. They want us in the left versus right paradigm, which is just, we all need to be wise that that's just two sides of the same coin. And there's this other secret uniparty behind those two parties. You know, the founder said one of the worst things that could happen to our democracy is a two-party system, because you end up picking the lesser of two evils. You end up voting against someone instead of for someone, because like, I don't know. And I said this the other day that, I mean, there hasn't been, except for Trump and JD Vance, but like I said, I think it was yesterday, the night before, the reason why I really, really, really believed that they were going to, follow through on their campaign promises, it was because they had made these promises to Charlie. Charlie was vouching for them. And I believe that Charlie believed them and that they wouldn't lie to Charlie. And I know Charlie wouldn't lie to us. So I know that he genuinely believed that they were going to do what they said they did.
Truly. Yeah, no, for sure. It's betrayal and deceit from the highest level. And they used innocent Christian men to do it. And it's textbook. You just have to look at the Bible. It isn't the first time in history it's happened, right? We're trying to be told that it's something it's not. And the people who did it, I think, are the ones who are telling us those things. So
what did you think? Did you watch Tucker Carlson's speech at his memorial when
I was there?
Were you really?
I was on the floor. Yeah, it's a whole other story. We can unpack it with Matt. Maybe we can make that one a little bit more casual and like personal. And we can tell some stories. But yeah, no, I was down there. I had reached out to people I've known my entire life, people I worked closely with. I offered my services as a camera operator. I did a lot to try and get in there initially, and I was kind of stonewalled from the floor, which.
Well, they had already selected the media company that was going to run that event, dude.
Well, I mean, the guys I toured with were also, running some of that. So there was weird, like it was weird from the beginning. And I managed to get down there thanks to a friend, but now we'll talk. It's a whole thing. I was there though. Yes. In his speech.
All
yeah.
Right. Did I read this one? Okay. Thank you so much. Finally, someone speaking truth that was close to Charlie. Everyone should share this episode. You are in my prayers, brave one. Thank you, Elizabeth Minton. We're almost there, you guys. And then we're going to get on with the show. Okay. Auntie Penelope, you are not crazy. Thank you and be safe. Christ is King. Thank you, Auntie Penelope. Christ is king indeed. Did you ever notice how fake Erica was while at Turning Point?
I'm only laughing because I saw her like twice, I think, in like the 13 years I was there. The one time I remember most was I think it was 10-year anniversary of Turning Point USA. That also was their kind of staff and friends and family wedding reception. They had a bunch, obviously, but this one was for TP family. And there's a photo of me that I don't have that I know exists of me and one of my ex-girlfriends and Charlie and Erica, because they did like a whole everyone gets a photo thing. Again, I didn't really get it at the time. It didn't make sense to me. I looked at the kind of work Erica was doing, which was like, I don't know, pro-Christian. She had Bible in 365. She had this kind of failing streetwear brand.
Yeah.
It felt fake. None of it felt real to me. And so at the time I was skeptical of it, but at the same time I was like, okay, Charlie, like I trust your judgment, bro. Like I trust you. I'm obviously not going to put my 2 cents in there, because that's clearly not as outside of my wheelhouse, right? Like do your own thing, like, but I was skeptical of it from the jump. Yeah. And then she also was never really involved in Turning Point USA, in the operations of things. She was always kept out of that. And so then to see her immediately assume control, which in my opinion, I don't think she's in control of anything. I think Tyler Boyer is still the one pulling all the strings and calling all the shots. And, they're using the emotional kind of whiplash that they can via Erica to push a lot of that through. And it's, again, you just have to break it down and call it for what it is. And it starts to make sense.
Were you there at the Andy Biggs rally?
I'm trying to remember. I think I might have been. I don't remember if I've seen the video. I'll have to know the date, but I think I was. Again, I've also done contract work for Turning Point Action before in the past. Yeah. I don't know. I think I might have been, because I remember that setup, like that dark room in the red. I've done so much for them over the years in so many different capacities. It's hard. I didn't remember until last night that I was, filming the We the People versus the Oligarchs speech, which happened at the Arizona rally where RFK endorsed Trump. And it's like, I knew I was there for RFK. I didn't really realize that was the same day, and it's just
it blends together.
Insane. So 13 years is crazy.
Yeah. Hey guys, do me a favor. We have 4,000 people here, which is amazing. We got 1,600 likes. We can do better than that. Just hit the like and subscribe. It's the best free way to help support a channel, and it'll help this video get to more people. You want more people to see this video, hit the like, and it helps the algorithm realize that it's a good video. All right, we got God bless your bravery. Please be safe. The world is watching. Thank you, Kristen. Is it Kristen or Christy? And then we have Mystic. There you go. Meech, DM me your YouTube link when you can.
I just broke 100, so thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Did you really?
Yeah, I'm about to refresh. It was at 99, and I'm sure it is 102
You guys, we can do better than that.
Thank
you guys, we have 4,000 people here. You guys, we could get everyone to go over to his channel and just hit a button. It's free. You just hit a button. All right. For the mods, Jesus is coming to stay. So stay prayed up. I agree. Be ready. Be vigilant. Renita Sophia, thank you for joining us, Meech. She's another mod of ours. It is such an honor. Please let our BLB community know how we can support you on your journey. Is there a payment platform we can support? Go Meech, Christ is King.
All right, you're gonna have to help me get that set up after this, Matt, and then I'll let you blast it out because I didn't want to be here, guys. I'm doing this because I couldn't not anymore. I sat in the new job I took and I ignored my feelings and I stayed off Twitter, and I honestly was starting to kind of self-destruct because I couldn't stand what was happening, and I was hopeless, and I didn't think that there was any goodness left in the world. And then I got on Twitter one day and I spoke out against Tyler, and he blocked me. But in the interim, there were hundreds of people who came to my support. Candace Owens retweeted me. That was the first thing that kind of sent me. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm not crazy. Like I people agree. I can feel like I'm not insane. And so, I guess just help me out figuring this out. I'm like, I've been in the space, but I'm new in front of a camera. So, any advice y'all have, I'm happy to help. And thanks for helping me out, Matt.
100%. We got Heather. The 4 is Real Heather. They pressured Charlie to date and marry her. Yes, they do. I actually have proof of that. So James Cadiz said that when he first met Charlie and Erica was there, he said, and James Cadiz, who is Erica's like pastor for Proclaim and Bible in 365, he was there at the trial last week giving interviews like Frank Turek. They're all Calvary Chapel pastors: Rob McCoy, Frank Turek, Jack Hibbs, Greg Laurie, James Cadiz, and they're all Zionists, right? James has said time and time again, and he's the one that did their premarital counseling, that he told Charlie, you have to marry Erica now. You have to do it now, or else God's going to take the blinders off of her eyes and she's going to see you for what you really are. And that she is the thing that's going to bless you and Turning Point and take it to the next level. Without her, it's not going to be blessed. He was doing passive, spiritual manipulative things like that, saying he's a prophet. He hears from God and telling Charlie what to do because God told him. It's freaking disgusting.
It is.
Yeah. You explained how you could tell that they isolated Charlie. Was this in hindsight, or could you tell when you were working for him?
I felt it happening in real time. It was a big complaint of mine. When I left in 2023, I gave an exit interview to an individual who, I'm now questioning if what I said to him even made its way to Charlie.
Is it supposed to? Is the exit interview supposed to make it to Charlie? Don't
most exit interviews make its way to the CEO? In a normal company?
It should, yeah.
So I was under the assumption that this was normal. Again, nothing that happens at that company is normal. None of the corporate structure is normal. None of the promotions are based off of the work you do. It's all based off who you know. It's a political high school at the end of the day.
Yep.
So yes, I noticed that taking place. As someone who was there from the beginning, I noticed the ideological shift from a fundamental level. This was no longer a grassroots organization that believed in principle. This was a Trump machine. And I saw that and I had my concerns, but at the same time, this was before 9/10. This was before all of this. This was, the Western democracies at stake and Trump's our best shot, which I guess maybe was a belief. It's obviously not the case now because they're working for the same people. So my point being, I gave it my best shot from the perspective I could as a young person navigating the corporate world. I wish I had more courage then to just text my friend Charlie, but also I don't know if he even had full control over that. I don't know to what degree this man was managed and insulated. And I watched again over time, it just felt like he was isolated from his core mission to becoming a political activist. And that was done via the studio and such, the Charlie Kirk show, which was the core people who are now kind of proclaiming his message, which to me falls flat on its face when you compare the things that he would say, that I would record for 3 hours a day in front of students. And that's again, when it comes down to so much more than just a politician or political activist, a talking head. He was a spiritual leader in this nation, the strongest one, arguably, that we've had in decades. And he was changing the hearts and minds of the youth, and he was getting them to think critically about not only their government, but about the real cost of their actions and where their souls are, and also just like the spiritual war that we've been in since the day that Christ died. And again, to expect these things not to happen, I think, is naive. As Christians, we should be sober-minded about the fact that we are told we will face persecution. We will be killed for the statements we make, for not budging on truth. It's why we see all of these people who are too afraid to speak up, because they don't want to get killed. I get it. Right? I'm very sober-minded about this thing. I lost my mother when I was 23 or 24. 2 years later, I watched Charlie get killed. Like, I get it. This world, we're not meant for this world. It's temporal, right? We can't take any of this stuff with us anyways. I can't take the job I just lost with me. I can't take the salary I just lost with me. What I can take with me is my soul, my values, the things that I know I lived for. And the fact that, when and if I do perish, like, I can at least say that I did the tough thing or the right thing when it was tough. Right. And that's what it is for me. So I noticed it. I did as much as I could internally. That's the only reason why I went back as a contracted videographer, was because it wasn't with Turning Point USA. It was with Charlie directly. I was one of 3 people in his direct kind of eyesight for 3 hours a day. And it was awesome. It was the experience of a lifetime. I would do it again in a heartbeat. Getting to amplify his message again, that was so much more than political. I realized that there were moments, because again, you get in this environment, you listen to Charlie for decades, you start to tune a lot of it out. I was very guilty of that. And I had a moment where we were at a campus, and I noticed that this wasn't political anymore. This was Charlie was speaking to the youth in a way that, yes, there was politics underlying, but like, he was saving souls, dude. He was a warrior for Christ in a way that they couldn't handle. So they had to kill him. And that's what they did to Christ. And it's again, to expect people like him, people such as myself, to not face persecution from the world, I think, is naive. So like, again, I'm very aware of that. And that's why I waited as long as I did, because I knew it would happen. I just kind of had to wait to see if anyone else was gonna do the right thing, and I haven't seen very many people do it yet. So
yeah, and I was gonna say too, like 9/11 and like any of these major traumatic events, like we remember what life was like before and then after, and that like in the last 10 months we've gone through such an unveiling of so many things in such a short amount of time. Sometimes it's hard to remember that, like, no, a lot of us, well, I can speak for myself, we're kind of naive to a lot of things, that really Charlie's assassination, like, just it woke a lot of people up to a lot more and I think some people's process already started on that beforehand, but I think it really, so not knowing who could be trusted and who couldn't be, and like who was isolating him. It's definitely, I think, apparent now after the fact. Some of these people like Maureen Menez, Stacey Sheridan, Tyler Boyer, I think Andrew Colvit's a bad guy, not a good guy. He's the one that most likely went back to Miriam Adelson, right? And said, that statement that Trump made was only in front of Charlie and Andrew, right? And then, I mean, Charlie didn't say it. So, all right. Were you in Aspen when Charlie Kirk named EK as his successor? Thoughts on the video? So, no, you weren't there.
I wasn't there, but I will comment on this because I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
I was in their productions department, obviously, in 2022. 2023, I was making deep fakes for Jack Posobiec using AI. I also
Wait, no way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I put a whole tweet about this the other day. You can go blow it up if you want. Just go to my profile and search deep fakes. You'll find it. And so, yeah, it was when the Trump trial was happening. Actually, you talk about manipulating justice. Again, I look back on it, and the deep fakes were so god awful that, like, it's embarrassing now. But again, in hindsight, it's really interesting, and it's why none of these people's behavior necessarily surprised me. But all that to say, I was one of the first people like, hey guys, we should maybe clone Charlie's voice and use it, if we can't get him in the studio. Again, he had such a busy schedule. Getting him in for recordings was hard sometimes. And we needed audio clips. We needed one-liners, whatever it was, whether it was a tail end to a video or a call to action, whatever. We had decades of his footage. We may as well just have a clone we can use, right? And that was something I talked about. I kind of showed them how to do very novicely back in the day, 11 labs. So for them to come out here and be like, oh, this is not AI. We'd never use AI. We believe in the truth. It's like, bro, I was there. The veil, the line between truth, what actually is very thin, and you guys are willing to push it. I myself was at times for the sake of certain things. I think there's some good in that, right? But at the same time, we have to be real about what's happening right now and kind of what point of the timeline we're in. 3 years ago is different than what's happened now since Charlie Kirk's been killed. So I think that, I wasn't there for that video. I'm skeptical of the video for sure. Very skeptical of it. Yeah. I'm heavily skeptical, actually, incredibly skeptical because of what I just said, which is that I showed them 3-4 years ago how to make AI videos of these people, of our enemies, such as, leftists. And then to think that in the 3-4 years that AI has made advancement wise, it would be impossible, I think is very, again, naive. They expect you all to just be naive, good goyim, and that's just, it's insane to me.
Yeah. And I mean, like, there's so many things wrong with that video, right? They add music, they cut it up into 2 separate parts. They put a still photograph in between. They're putting videos in front of it. And then the video itself doesn't match Candace's video, like where the mic is in different places where Charlie's holding it. There's issues with like his fingers, his teeth, his eyelid.
And water too. I've seen those, like, just
the
really
TP
small
details.
details.
Yes. Yeah. And then also, even to take all that away, and if it's just this one thing, it kind of destroys it. He looks like he's saying it in jest. He looks like he's being sarcastic. If he says it at all, if it's real at all, and it's just taken out of context, he didn't look serious, honestly. So, I mean, there's on so many different levels why I think there's something wrong with that video. All right, we got Christ is King indeed. Add a link to his channel in the description, please. All right, I think Mystic already put it in the chat, and then I will. I can't do it during the show, but I'll do it for sure.
Got a reply from Candace. That's insane.
You did?
Yeah, she's retweeted me twice. This is her first reply. That's awesome. Thank you, Candace. I appreciate that.
I tried to find are you on the deep fake one? Which one?
No, it's the one I put out last night of we were deprived. This man is our president. We deserved better. He deserved better. I said, may God save our republic. She threw a cross underneath. I'm like, let's go.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, I lost it. I don't want to lose track of this. I was trying to find the deep fake one and it took me.
Dude, I know we have like I don't have that much time and I feel like we have barely even scratched the surface. We can do another one. Like,
we should definitely. How much time do you have left, by the way?
I mean, I'm already late to an event, so we can go for another 15 and I'll
no.
Stop it. That's hard stop. I don't want to cut right now. We're good. Let's keep going for 15 and
all right.
We'll cut it off.
All right. And then I'll stay on too, because I can play some stuff for everybody as well. All right. Artifex Memoir, YouTube.
And I promise you I'll come back. I promise.
Yeah.
You.
And we're gonna get you, me, and Matt Tuzzarone. Subbed Mitchell. Good. Did you refresh it? What are you at now?
Oh God, let me go check. Hang on. I'm trying to tear down Paramount Tactical's lies. I'm trying to, like, dude, there's so much.
Wait, what is he saying right now?
Bro, he's out here posting internal documents from Turning Point USA that go back from 2019, and I'm like, there's an indication that these people are working together. You tell me this isn't a federal deep state cover-up. This dude who no one knew of outside of the Gun Tuber channel, right? Like,
correct.
Is all of a sudden going to bat, making it his life's mission to tear down Candace Owens. Excuse me, who are you? Why do you care? You never care. I never heard your name once in the 13 years I was working for Turning Point USA. You are irrelevant. Stop using this dude's death to make yourself seem cooler than you are. You federal agent, you government contractor. You are a documented government contractor.
Yeah,
stop
he's a useful idiot. Before he got the contract, he was it could not be a 30-06 because he's like, the shirt movement doesn't make sense. The no exit wound, the entry wound doesn't look right. And then he was trying to explain the shirt movement with Charlie must have been wearing some sort of low vis ballistic vest, and then he realized no, he wasn't wearing a vest. And right when he was around that time frame, then he switched sides, and then you're like, oh, that's when you also got a contract. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, dude. Oh wait, did I read that? I said thank you, fantastic interview. Thank you, Brian. We got. Hi, Mitch. Did you ever meet Victor Marx, and what did you think about him? Big love.
I didn't actually meet. I may have met him once, maybe in passing. I don't know. Again, like the way Turning Point would work, it was very open. People would just come to the office. I was in productions. We were doing Turning Point live. It was kind of an experiment at the time, so we would always have people kind of coming in and out to be guests on there. This is around the time Kyle Rittenhouse was a thing, and Victor Marx became Kyle Rittenhouse's security guard.
Did he really?
They started a whole nonprofit together, brother. I just found this out the other day. They started a whole nonprofit together. Go
I
look
didn't
that up.
know that. I will.
And so I think that, again, I'm a man of principle before I am a man of politics,
Yeah.
right? The principle is what guides my political party.
Yes.
And so I stand for justice before anything. And I watched these people do that with Kyle Rittenhouse. And I was very happy for them to do. That's why I supported them. That's why I worked there. Like, these people lived out what they said then. Now I'm watching these people do the exact opposite, right? And Victor Marx is one of those people. Victor Marx has also admitted to killing people.
Yeah.
Admitted it. And so I'm wondering now that he is, about to run for governor in Colorado, is there a sense in which he was promised that seat, for whatever his potential role may have been in this assassination? Because we know he allegedly used to care for, innocent until proven guilty. He went to Rittenhouse's defense real quick. I think they started a nonprofit together. I might be wrong. I don't want to get sued, but I feel like I just looked that up last week.
Well, you could just say, in your opinion, to the best of your knowledge. I'm trying to find out. I thought, did he win the he won something? Victor Marx secured the Republican nomination for the governorship of Colorado. So, but the general election has not yet taken place. So, but he's going to be in the general election.
Okay,
he made it into the next round. That sucks. That's not good for Colorado. Oh no, one of my mods lives in Colorado. Glenn, we got to get you out of there. While you look that up, I'm going to read this by Hey You. I bet the exit interview didn't find Charlie. Mostly they're conducted by HR and stop there. Yeah, but here's what's interesting.
And I have an interesting point too. Say yours, then I'll say mine. Okay.
There was something that happened. I forget what it was. Matthew Tuzzaroni brought it up with Tyler Boyer, and Tyler Boyer made himself the HR guy during that so that he could fix that whole thing. There was like an article written about it. So, I mean, like, Tyler Boyer could pull strings within Turning Point and Turning Point Action to like make things disappear, to control things. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so like the guy I gave my exit interview to, I just recently saw a photo of him at the founders ball that Turning Point had, and I believe he was elevated to a position of director of some kind, right? And so again, going off the theory that I've had, which is like this company that was insulated with federal agents and then loyalists that didn't challenge, the right things in the right way, that were kind of acting like they did. It very much kind of supports that belief. I'm also trying to find out if he is the son of the Christian evangelist Eric Erickson, because his name is Dylan Erickson and their last name is spelled the exact same way.
Probably.
And I was incorrect. I guess ATP Ministries was just started by Victor Marx, not Kyle Rittenhouse.
So okay.
I want to correct myself there.
There you go. That's good. They use it to protect the company and against you. If you ever want to be rehired, they have no rehire lists. Thank you. Hey, you. And then we got Fact and Fiction. We got please help us all learn how to get set up with new channel. I'm needing help. Spread truth and Christ Jesus also.
So if you take the @ under my name, it's in my @Artifex Memoir. Just type that into YouTube. It should come up. I made the handle the same.
Perfect. And then I'm pretty sure Mystic threw it in just the regular chat, not the super chats, but the regular chat. And then we'll put it in the branch description. I'll even post it on my X as well. Oh yeah, she did. Yeah, Candace Mystic just showed me. She put Candace put the heart underneath you. That's dope, dude. That's good. All right, let's continue. I know you got a little bit of time left. Please comment on the setup changes on 910, i.e. the audio, microphones, chair, stage, shirt, etc. What do you think about the exploding mic hypothesis?
Yeah, there's a lot about that event that doesn't make sense to me as someone who's there. The platform seems unreasonably high compared to any ones that we've used in the past. I've said this multiple times. I'll say it again for your audience. We used to run occasionally 1 to 2 inch platforms that would give Charlie's chair about this much lift. And in the photo that I've seen from behind, it looks to be about 4 to 6 inches higher, which was interesting to me and a cause for concern just normally. The amount of people who were there that normally weren't there. Blake Neff never came to tablings.
No.
Andrew Colvett was there. He never was really sent out. Maybe he was occasionally. I don't know. But again, it was very much Charlie, Mikey, security. it was a slim crew because we're traveling all the time across the country. You can't afford to pay for that many people's travel. So the amount of people that were there to me was just
insane,
weird. I don't know why. I don't know why Tara was there. I'm going to say that again.
He was at a previous event a long time ago.
He would come. I'll clarify this. He would come to events that we typically had in tandem with other events. So what we would do is sometimes Charlie would go to a campus and he would host a tabling, and then later that night we would have a speaking event. It was ticketed and it was indoors, and we had a guest speaker come, whether it was a politician or somebody, and Tara would help facilitate that setup while we were outside running the cameras for the normal day. He would be in the arena kind of preloading stuff. We would come in after, set up cams, and go, because it had to be that fast. Then, for example, in Vegas, we had a tabling that morning. It was with Director of National Intelligence, who just got fired, Tulsi Gabbard, and Charlie and Tulsi were there, and we had the Trump rally in Vegas later that day. So Terrell's at the arena getting everything kind of set up, presetting things. He may have popped over to campus to grab a couple things and came back. So he was there, but it was very rare, and it was only in specific events where he was there. And so to have him there for like a normal tabling felt very strange.
The last one that I saw that Terrell actually stood and actually was part of, like, right there, was back when Charlie didn't have integrity security solutions.
It was a very, back when they were very,
with Schaefer Group. And so that was like in 21 or something like that. So there was a lot of anomalies that day. Did you answer your opinion on the mic thing, or
the mic thing? I don't know. I'm still working through a lot of that because I know a lot of these people personally. And so for me, it's one of those things that challenges, it breaks my brain in many ways. I've seen some videos that again, I'm not going to deny what my eyes are showing me, that don't really add up. Right. And I have questions. I don't necessarily believe anything one way or another, because the implications of that would kind of be heartbreaking and earth shattering for me in many ways. But again, anything's possible, and I'm not ruling anything out either. I just am kind of remaining focused on what's happening at a deeper philosophical level for our nation. And I don't want to get distracted by things like that, because I feel like that's how those things are kind of being used to a certain degree. At the same time, though, I think we've learned a lot of truth from those kind of theories. And so I'm not saying to not pursue them either. I just think that, like, pick your fight and engage in it, I guess, and don't get distracted.
Well, and like finding the how is important, but also right now we may never know, like, for verbatim, like the how. And I think also, like with JFK, there's probably multiple hows. They probably were going to make sure that he never walked out of there alive, and that there was probably a contingency for contingency for contingency. But really focusing on the who and the why, like Mitch was talking about earlier, I think is going to be is really important.
Yeah, and again, it's like I for anyone who wants to label me like trying to destroy Charlie's legacy, I'm not. No. I'm using the same questions Charlie asked about JFK to approach his own assassination, and I think that if it was anyone else in the chair, whether it was Candace Owens or even Ben Shapiro, like they would be asking the same questions. Who benefited the most? Charlie himself would be tracing the fringe theories. He would not be trusting the state. He would not be trusting the evidence, especially the evidence that up until this point is very questionable, especially in the age of AI, where they can fake videos, they can fake photos. Again, this is a litmus test on multiple levels, and they're testing, how much they can get away with, in my opinion.
Yeah. I just want to say this, you guys. So like Mitch was fired from Maricopa County for speaking out about the truth about Charlie Kirk. He's been going max online ever since. Okay. He didn't do this for money. He's not doing this for recognition. And we have 4,000 people here. We could get his YouTube channel like almost monetized in this moment. Just if everyone goes over and clicks the subscribe button, we can help get him on his way to being able to doing this on a regular basis. And so I just wanted to make it to where everyone saw the spelling of it. So it's at Artifex and then capital MEMOR. All right. And this is what it looks like. All right, you guys. And that's just a surefire way to help support him. You just click the button. All right, here we go. We got Kim, another listener from Vandalia. Ohio here. Is that, how do you say that? Vandalia? Ohio. Last night we were stuck inside the smoke. Tonight the power is out from the storms. Love your show. Oh, I'm glad that you have something to watch. I'm way up in northern Idaho. I don't know how people are there's a lot of fires in Canada right now. Like this whole thing, it looked like the apocalypse yesterday. Like you couldn't go outside with all the fires in Canada right now. All right, we got Valentine Bilby. I'm so bad at reading people's freaking names, you guys. What a joy to meet this articulate, lovely young man with a truly good heart. No other past, present toilet paper is this intelligent and good other than CK, obviously. That's a really good one, man.
Thank you.
That's such a good compliment. Jim Carrey, if everyone subscribes, he will have 3,000 subscribers. Actually, he'll have 4,160.
Bro, even if half of you guys subscribed, I would be at like 2K. That would be kind of sick.
Yeah, it would be really cool. Right now, he's at, let me hit refresh. Right now, he's at 265. So it's climbing. So let's get him there, you guys. All right, next. And I want to be respectful of your time. I know we're almost at that 15-minute mark. Christ, King indeed. When did the Zionist pastors start to creep in? After 2018.
It was right around the Stop the Steal post 2020. And that's kind of the moment in my mind I go back to 2020, 2021. It's where I actually stepped out of the Charlie Kirk show as an intern. And then they brought in Mikey McCoy to kind of start supporting Charlie's day to day. And that was right when Rob McCoy got in the picture. And the story that I've been told is that Charlie needed someone. Charlie was already meeting with Rob McCoy. Charlie needed someone to take him to the airport. Mikey did it, and it was kind of on that drive that Charlie and Mikey talked, and Mikey and Charlie kind of just, became friends, started working together. That's kind of what kicked it all off. That's the story I was told and heard. I don't know the legitimacy of it. Could be complete. I don't know. There are a lot of stories in Turning Point that may or may not be true.
Because we didn't hear him from Charlie. We've heard him from them. We've heard him from Erica. You know, we don't. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we can talk again. I'll give you kind of my story on that, and we can again break it down later or not if you want to. I'm happy to come back. I didn't realize it's been 2.5 hours already. Like this has been great. And I'm happy to come back whenever, and would love to learn again how you might be able to just give me some perspective on this.
100%. So it's been 15. I'm going to let you sign off. Okay.
All right, brother. I appreciate it. I know this went. We got to come back. We will do this again for sure. But
no, this was great, and I'm gonna continue on tonight, you guys. So please stay on. But if you haven't,
we didn't even get to the video. We got to get to the video.
All right.
We got to do that. We got to at least get through that for a little bit.
All right, cool. All right, let's do that. Then I'll get to the super chats after. So we're gonna listen to this video. This is Charlie Kirk. What was the date on this?
I think it was November 13th, 2023. It was back in November 2023.
So here's the article. Charlie Kirk defends Elon Musk's anti-Semitism. Some of the largest financiers of left-wing anti-white causes have been Jewish Americans. Kirk, it is wrong and repulsive to call a great man, Elon Musk, an anti-Semite. It cheapens the label of anti-Semitism. It is not good for anybody. And then here, the artist formerly known as Eric writes, okay, Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of dialectical hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. I'm deeply disinterested in giving the tiniest I'll read it, you guys. The tiniest shit now about Western Jewish populations coming to the disturbing realization that those hordes of minorities that support flooding their country don't exactly like them too much. You want truth said to your face. There it is. All right. And then Elon Musk says, you have said the actual truth. And then here we go. We got Charlie. All right.
Across the country. Honored to be with you. You can email us as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. Excellent event last evening in Reno, Nevada. It's great to see so many of you. I cannot emphasize enough the win for liberty, the win for humanity, that the liberation of Twitter has meant for all of us. It's remarkable. Liberating Twitter from what it once was to what it is now is a win for the narrative. It's a win for truth. It's a win as we try to fight back against this uniparty regime, the tyrants, and the authoritarian dictators that are running the country. Elon Musk, even if they shut down Twitter today, will go down as a major hero for allowing us to be able to speak, to question narratives, to get the truth out. Elon Musk got himself in a little bit of trouble yesterday. Elon Musk responded to a tweet that I actually don't think the tweet is that smart. I think one part of it is legit, but I think another part of it is not so great. But the essence of what Elon was responding to is a major thought crime in America. That the world's wealthiest man would comment on this is historic. So here's the tweet, and it's responding to a video, and the video was basically a white father with his white son saying to his son, hey, you think that, you know, you're posting online all this anti-Semitic stuff. Why don't you go and say this to these Jewish families' face? Pretty powerful advertisement. This is the ad, okay? It's about a minute long. It's a powerful ad. And then a person on Twitter responded to this advertisement, and then Elon responded to the person responding to the advertisement. It's important. Bear with us, because right now Elon Musk is being targeted like never before. Elon Musk was supposed to speak at a summit today, and he has been canceled. They don't want to hear from Elon Musk because they are tarring and feathering him as an anti-Semite. They've come after this program for calling us anti-Semites. They're coming after Elon Musk for calling him an anti-Semite. So here's the advertisement. It's a powerful ad. Play cut 79.
I saw what you've been posting. Hitler was right. I didn't teach you that. You hide behind your screen, spewing all this hatred and ugliness. You got something you want to say? Get out of the truck and say it to their faces.
We got to pump those numbers up.
Yeah. And I just want to point out right here, it says this is paid for by the Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism. It's now known as the Blue Square Alliance Against Hate, and it was created by Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots. All right, I'm going to keep playing because he's going to go on.
Okay, so that advertisement then was responded to by this person, the artist formerly known as Eric. Quote, okay, Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of dialectical hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. I am deeply disinterested in giving the tiniest swear word, let's just say tiniest crap, now about Western Jewish populations, coming to the disturbing realization that those hordes of minorities that support flooding their country don't exactly like them too much. You want truth said to your face? There it is. Now, let me just say, this is not a very well-written tweet. It's very confusing. I'll go through what they're basically saying here. Half of this tweet is true, half of it I don't like. You want the truth said to your face? There it is. Elon responds, and he says, you have said the actual truth. Now, we don't know what part Elon is saying is the actual truth. So let's go through this. Again, it's double negatives and misuse of the word disinterested. It's a strange tweet that Elon pinpointed on here. But the first part is absolutely true. Let's go to this. Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. Now, I don't like generalizations. Not every Jewish person believes that. But it is true, the Anti-Defamation League was part and parcel with Black Lives Matter. It is true that some of the largest financiers of left-wing anti-white causes have been Jewish Americans. They went all in on woke, and it wasn't just ADL. It was some of the top Jewish organizations in the country that have done that. In fact, we have seen this with the recent retreat of Jewish donations that are no longer going to be administered to colleges, right? Mark Rowan, Leon Copperman. Can we get that full list? It's very powerful. The part of the, so that's totally true. And by the way, Tucker Carlson reinforces this. So I'm going to it was quite a day on the internet. Tucker Carlson was interviewing Candace Owens. We have Candace Owens coming up next hour. And Tucker Carlson mentions that Jewish Americans have primarily been financing cultural Marxist ideas. We said this, by the way, last week, and people came after us. We actually said it in a different way. We said, I'm glad that Jewish Americans are reconsidering their financing of cultural Marxism. And people misunderstood it intentionally and slandered us as being anti-Semites. But listen to this. Tucker Carlson is completely correct by saying this, that the philosophical foundation of anti-whiteness has been largely financed by Jewish donors in the country. Play cut 92.
However, then I thought, well, wait a second. If the biggest donors at, say, Harvard have decided, well, we're going to shut it down now, where were you the last 10 years when they were calling for white genocide? You were allowing this. And then I found myself really hating those people, actually. That you're okay with that? On what grounds were you okay with that?
And this is what I've been trying to explain to the pro-Israel lobby, that what you are seeing as lack of support is people that are asking the question is, where were you as we have endured all of this?
You were paying for it, actually.
Right.
You were paying for it.
You were paying for it.
You were calling my children immoral for their skin color. You paid for that.
Yeah, and
so why shouldn't I be mad at you? I don't understand.
So what Tucker is saying is similar to part of the tweet that Elon isolated. That is true. That, let's just say liberals, but that includes Jewish financiers of liberal causes, didn't really care about University of Chicago having courses that saying, the problem with whiteness. They didn't really care about American Express saying that we must eliminate whiteness. They didn't, in fact, they were supportive of it. A lot of liberals were okay with critical race theory, diversity, equity, inclusion. ADL went all in on the BLM type narrative. And ADL is one of many different organizations that were perfectly fine with the growing anti-white wave. Now, to be clear, many of these Jews did not fully understand what they were financing. Their intentions were probably pretty good. As we've said, intentions mean next to nothing here. And I'm sure some of the intentions weren't so good, but let's just intentions aside. I'm not that interested in intentions. I'm interested in actions, okay? Intentions are very hard to pinpoint. We get too caught up in the conservative movement on intentions. I learned this from the great Dennis Prager, who says, stop focusing on intentions, focus on the actions. It's a much better way to judge whether or not something is right or wrong. Intentions, as I've said before, and there's a video that went viral, the Nazis thought they were doing good. They convinced themselves that they were doing good, when in reality, they were doing some of the greatest evil in the history of the species. So again, Hamas thinks they're doing good. I could go through all this, but they're doing evil. So I'm not convinced that somebody's intentions are what matter. Many Jewish financiers culturally given money to George Washington University, Columbia, Yale, Dartmouth, over and over and over again, hundreds of millions of dollars, financing many nonprofits, that many of them are now recognizing and realizing this was a bad idea. So I'm going to build this out because the second part of the tweet I don't like, and it ties into some news that is not so good for AOC. It's not good for Ayanna Pressley. I'm going to isolate that in just a second. But let me just say before I talk about My Patriot Supply, it is sloppy, it is shallow, it is wrong and repulsive to call a great man, Elon Musk, an anti-Semite. It cheapens the label of anti-Semitism. It is not good for anybody.
And that was it. All right, let me pull it off.
Yeah, I think that's the clip that they don't want you to remember. I think that's the moment in time that everybody on Twitter who right now is telling you to trust the government, to not question things, to not ask why, that's the moment they want you to forget. I've been trying to find that clip for a while. We
found it right before we went live.
I don't think you guys realize how impactful this was before we went live. I'm glad we're kind of ending on this. At least we can go for another 15. We'll cut it at 3 for me. This is what I feel like people are missing. And I put out a tweet the other day that amplifies this a little bit. And it said, you know, first they came for Candace Owens and I did nothing. Then they came for Tucker and I did nothing. And they came for Joe Kent and I did nothing. And it wasn't until I spoke out publicly and got blocked by Tyler Boyer, who I've known for 13 years, that I realized, like, this, you know, they're going to come for you too. I forget how I said it. Go find it. But like playing off, you know, the rhetoric that was used back then, as Charlie indicated, there, many people can convince themselves that what they are doing is right, is just, is in line with God, when in reality they are advocating for evil. And I think that's what we are in the middle of. I think it is very deceptive. I think that what we have seen from the Israel lobby, the Jewish community, however Charlie himself labeled it, again, I'm not using these labels because again, Charlie said it all first. So whatever you want to label me, you are inadvertently labeling Charlie. I'm not saying anything that he didn't say. And so, you know, I think what's most interesting here is we look at how, as Charlie indicated, they've pushed this anti-white rhetoric. They've pushed all this kind of stuff, right? But on the same time, they're also funding the same causes that work to, you know, they're very heavily influenced in conservatism as well. So they're playing both sides to end up on top, to funnel us down into what end. Again, I don't care about the means as much as I care about the end. And that's what I'm going to be writing about in my book. I think that it traces back to the reconstruction of Germany, the foundation of the nation state of Israel, the idea of never again, the idea of denying humanity the truth that we all know existed, that was rewritten in the wake of World War II. Yep. And it's up to us to get to the bottom of it. And we will eventually. I think it's just going to take time, and people such as Candace Owens and myself and Tucker Carlson and yourself even, but just continuing to add this pressure and speaking truth to power. Again, I didn't want to be here. I want to emphasize that again. I'm not doing this because I want to be famous. I don't enjoy this. It's uncomfortable for me. But I'm doing it because it's where I feel like God is I feel like he's had me in all the right places for this moment, oddly enough. And at this point, I'm not going to do what I want to do, which is, you know, run and hide. I'm just gonna trust what God is putting on my heart, and that is to speak up and hold people accountable for falsehoods and blatant dishonesty when they themselves are the ones claiming to be Christian and stand for Christ. I can't let it happen anymore. But that clip, guys, I want you to just please share that far and wide. Send it to your family, send it to your friends, put it in every tweet that these liars put out, because we know now that this is the reason. We know that this is why it discredits every statement that these people put out going forward. Until Elon Musk and everyone else addresses this, you're all like invalid, discredited. I'm sorry. And they were already discredited when they lied to the public and amplified that. But this just further emphasizes it. They are working to disinform you intentionally, to keep you away from this issue. And it's why not a single one of them has responded to me, because they know once they do, they're going to open up a can of worms that they can't close. Just like with Charlie. He was on every campus. He knew that this Israel issue, the cat's out of the bag. You're not going to put it back in without force. And that's the thing. People think that we can still change things in this country just by talking about them. I think Charlie kind of proved that is over, and they're now trying to force things, right? It's going to, it will come to a boiling point eventually. It's a matter of what and when and what it will take for people to recognize that this is where we're at until it's too late. We might get to that point where we lose the opportunity to. I don't know, right? I don't know what that moment is. We have to pray and reflect and work together to think about those things and recognize the implications of a lot of that too. And you know, it's not easy. It's very complex. It's not going to be pretty, but you know, it's a part of it that I feel like people don't want to talk about. And that's what makes this whole moment so deceptive, so important. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think that so much hinges on this moment. The future of their ability to control us is kind of like, there's so much riding on this moment. It seems they've put so much into this moment that it's like tied to something down the line. And it's so much bigger than we probably even realize. And I don't know if you guys know that, like, these Zionists, they were breeding special cows in Texas, red heifers, and they've already shipped them to Israel so that when some accidental stray missile blows up the Dome of the Rock and they can rebuild the third temple, which they need to do for their Messiah. But we already know their Messiah is actually our Messiah. He already came. And so they're going to use these heifers to consecrate and to cleanse the Temple Mount so they could rebuild the third temple. And I don't know how some of these Christians like support that. It's just like, I don't.
Well, and the funny thing is you noticing that they'll try and label you an anti-Semite for just for just witnessing something happen and commenting on it. Again, that is, it's a kind of laughable example of it, but it gets down to the root of where this ends, right? People start with things as silly as labeling but then it's going to get as serious as criticizing your government, and who they make deals with will land you in prison or dead. It will, because that's how fascist dictatorships work. That's what Charlie said in that clip himself, right? I'm not saying anything the man himself would say. The problem is the people that he put in power, that he trusted to uproot the tyrants, have become the tyrants. It goes back to Trump's thing where he said, I was once the hunted, I am now the hunter, right? Except he's taking that a little bit too far, I feel like, and not hunting the things that we all elected him to hunt, which is the deep state and illegal immigrants and fixing this country for us. He's I don't know, Israel's hitman, and it's just Bibi's personal assassin. I don't know. Like the whole thing, it's so transparently obvious to me that the people now who are backing the Fed slop argument, you guys are all enemies of the state, and this fake political war that you've put in front of us, we are aware of the spiritual implications of it. And when we do take this country back, God willing, Christ on our side, you guys love touching the wall so much, we're going to make you face it. Like, I promise you that much. Like I do. Like I do. Trust me. Because that's what they want to do to us. And it's right. And again, they love to touch the wall so much. Let's see how much they actually do.
We're not going to put any grass outside for you either, because Erica loves to say, and so does Andrew, that everyone needs to go touch grass. We'll just make it's all concrete for you guys.
It's going to be nice marble stone. The red will flow. It's going to be great. I can't wait.
Heather has issues. God bless you both, Mitch and Matt. I'm in awe of your bravery. Yeah. Thank you, Heather. Awesome, Matt. Love your show. Hugs, Patricia. Thank you, Patricia. We got Artifex Memoir is his YouTube channel, guys. Yes, it is. Thank you for putting that there. And then we got Jay Roller. Matt, I love your show and listen to it regularly. Just a suggestion, when you have guests on, add their name next to yours on the bottom of the screen. Great guest, by the way, and great job. Well, I'll have to tell my brother-in-law to do that, actually, because
get a little lower third working.
Well, I have the lower third. Here it is, but this is.
You want to get an adjustable one, you can change based on the
yeah. We got to where we could add it in last minute. That's a good suggestion. Thank you. And then here we go. We got, Renita, I know you didn't want to be here, and this was not your plan. This is clearly God's plan, and God always provides for those who truly serve Christ. This is a spiritual war and a Christ revolution. 100% agree.
I couldn't agree more.
And then we got Ray Marie. Go watch John Aaron Bray work on the explosion mic. And he says that there was a gunshot to trigger the explosion by the frequency sound passing the tent. Yes. John Bray's been on this show like 4 times. 5
No,
times.
for sure. And I'm sure that stuff exists. And again, I love the work that people have been doing there. I'm not trying to sit here and discredit it. My whole thing is like, I don't want to get focused on that. I want to remain focused on the government holding the people accountable, the things that Charlie was doing right before his death, because if not, they're going to lie and deceive the general public. And then by then it'll be too late. Right. And so again, keep up the pressure, keep doing that. Yeah. I'm coming at this from a personal kind of philosophical, historical level that I think a lot of people are missing. Yep. And I don't think that either of us are doing wrong. So I respect the work everyone's done.
Everyone
my perspective is different.
Everyone's bringing a different, their own expertise to this. Right. And you know what, Mitch is bringing to it is totally different than what John has brought to it and others that have brought to it in different ways. But we're all going to be contributing to this as a whole. And that's why I think we're all doing different things, right? It's just like we're the body of Christ, but like we're different parts. So together we can take them down, though. That's the thing, right? Mitch, insight on Terrell Farnsworth working for who's TB?
Tyler Boyer.
Okay.
Yeah,
they've known each other.
The Mormon mafia is real, and I think it should be investigated. And the Mormon Church operates as a business, and I think that much of their business framework has been applied to Turning Point USA. Yes. It's just my personal belief, personal assumption, yes. And I think that they were friends long before Turning Point. Yes, I know that Terrell just so happened to kind of fall into the position, right? Just like I did as a camera guy, a dude who loves media, right? This wasn't like anything that I feel like they intentionally, conspired for 2 decades to, build. Like, no, I think this was something that just happened over time. And as we see, people get in over their heads and they make choices one way or another. I don't know any of that. I just know that they go back a ways. They're both Mormon, and that should be considered.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's telling that in Tyler's own admission, he says that when he saw Charlie Kirk, he said, that's a guy I can hitch my wagon to, which is a selfish,
Send me that clip, please. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I got it. I'll send it.
Oh, that makes my blood boil, bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
that means like he saw Charlie as a means to an end.
What I've been saying about the intelligence, they saw him as an asset. They saw him as a tool to get us here.
Yep.
So I don't care about the mic as much as I care about how his life was used and who used it and who betrayed him, who lied to me, who lied to Charlie, who lied to all these good-hearted people who were expecting you to act one way when the hour of crisis came, and now we're here and you're not. That's what it comes down to for me.
Yeah, I'm going to send it to you and you're going to blow it up on X. Here we go. We got Christ is king indeed. It's not all the time, but it's every time. I was reading that as it came up on my monitor screen.
You're a good little pattern noticer, you are.
That was a good one. Mystic, thank you for the gifted 10 Blackline Brief memberships. And we have Orion just became a member. And then we have this last one. We're all caught up, and then we can let Mitch go. Protect Mitch at all costs. So much of Charlie's heart comes through in your words. Proud of and praying for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
100%. 100%. And let's check where you're at right now. Let's see. Let me hit refresh. We are at, dude, you're at 441 and climbing. That's so cool, dude.
Wow. Again, I created it last night. I put the profile picture up as we were here. So that's
later. I'm going to send you, I'll download this video.
Cool.
This video is already going to be at like a ridiculous amount. We've had 4,000 people here the whole time. I need to send it to you so that you can start earning those watch hours.
Yeah.
Get watch hours. And I'll send it to you when I'm done. I'll download it and send it to you.
I should go grab my appearance from Stu the other night too and just throw that up. I should just go grab all of them. Just toss them up, let people listen to him.
He filmed his on Rumble, and you just got to make sure he doesn't have an exclusive agreement with Rumble, which I think
I can still clip it though if I need
yes,
to.
You can.
Too.
Yeah, you can. All right.
Yeah, no, I very much enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun, and I think that the more we do this, the more we're just going to. Again, I don't have a smoking gun, and I hope people aren't waiting for that necessarily, right? I'm not sitting over here kind of gaming this out. There is one thing I'm kind of holding on to, and I'll reveal that when it's right. That's like the only thing. Outside of that, I'm in this for, the reasons I've described up until this point. And I think the more that we just have these kind of conversations openly, honestly, reflect on the past, reflect on the present, compare the two, I think, we'll start to expose these people for who they truly are. And innocent people don't act the way that Blake Neff is acting in Twitter Spaces right now. I'm sorry, they don't. He sounds afraid. He sounds scared, and they're slipping up. As Charlie said best, again, I always go back to my friend's words. As Charlie said best with Kyle Rittenhouse, the media machine has showed us its power, but they do have vulnerabilities, and we are seeing those vulnerabilities right now as well. History doesn't change. You just have to look at it and know how to use it. And Christ is king, and we will win. And these demons are using politics to wage a spiritual war. And the more we talk about that openly, hopefully, the more people we will wake up from that, because I truly feel like we are living in the Matrix right now. And when I saw Candace start Matrix posting, I was like, we're in this, and we're on the right side of it. And I'm happy to be here. And I thank you all for your support. So Matt, please, again, I would love to get a financial thing set up, because I am kind of struggling right now, but we'll figure it out. And that would be great. Yeah, please. I do have to run. I'm like an hour late to a birthday party. So I will get out of here, and we will chat more soon. Thank you all very much again for your time. I love you. God bless. And,
God bless.
We'll talk soon.
All right. Later, man. All right, you guys, let me get to the next super chat that came in. I have some things I want to show you. Don't take off, y'all. I still have a good show planned. And me and Mitch are going to do more. We just barely scratched the surface, you guys. If I could show you, I have like so many notes and things that we had prepared. But in a live scenario like this, you also kind of have to just go with the flow and allow everything to happen naturally. At least for me, that's how I run my I don't know, interviews. I'm not really like interviewing, you know, it's kind of just having a conversation in front of everybody. And yes, I have questions that I created and a couple that I know some people sent in, but we'll get to those next time if we didn't get them answered. Also, Matthew Tuzzarone and Mitch and myself are planning a collab live together next week. Hopefully Wednesday. It might be another day, depending on Mitchell's availability. And I'll let you guys know about that because that'll be really good. They both of them around their time within. So for Matthew Tuzzarone, it was Turning Point Action. For Mitchell, it was TPUSA. But both of them on their own, they didn't know each other while they were in. Okay. They've only come to really get connected on X after the fact through seeing each other's posts on about like, you all need to look into Tyler Boyer. There's a lot of weird stuff. Tyler Boyer needs to be investigated. Have they started to communicate? But getting them together in a show together, I think would be beneficial for one another and for all of us and for the community. So I'm excited for that. I'm sure Charlie is smiling on you. Finally, truth. Yeah. I think that was for Mitchell, right? Probably, Kathy. Thank you for that. All right. Let's see. Hold on. Let me get to what I want to pull up. We already saw that one. We saw the ad. He played the ad during the live, or Charlie played that. What did you guys think about that ad? The one that was in that X post where it's like that father and son. I thought it was extremely manipulative. And yeah, here is Robert Kraft's Wikipedia with the Blue Square Alliance, which used to be, where is it? It used to be called the Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism. It was formed in 2019 by Robert Kraft, who is the owner of the New England Patriots. So I found that interesting that he's the one that paid for that. Let's see. If anyone hadn't seen it from before, this is Artifex Memoir's page on YouTube. He doesn't have any videos yet, but I'm going to help him get set up so that he can start posting videos. We got him to 458 subscribers. That's amazing. I think we could get even more. I want to show you, I think I need to back up just a smidge. Let's see where he answers. This is Governor Cox. This is just after Tyler supposedly turns himself in. Listen to what he says.
Correct. Yes. So when he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested.
What's that, Governor Cox? What's that? Say that again. He changed on the roof. Hold up. You liar. You lie. Why you lie, Governor? And Kash Patel's back there pretty much with an invisible gun to your heads, making sure you say the right thing. Also, parts of this have been edited out, so there is stuff missing. So this one's longer. Let's do this one. Let me pause. Hold on. This is the after. Oh, that's right. The before one is going to be the really, really junky. So, okay, here's a couple things. This is how clear the one that they showed in court is. It's not as grainy as what we saw. So there was some degradation with them filming a screen played in court. All right. This is the original surveillance video from the roof from that day. But you'll see that once they zoom in, this is as close as it is naturally. Okay. So there's no way they see him pull out a rifle. There's no way they see him assemble a rifle, shoot the rifle, muzzle flash, recoil. They don't see that, okay? And the more you zoom in on this footage, the worse the quality gets, all right? Also, when they played this video and then they played the before part of this video in court, there is time missing. Ask yourself why. Well, first of all, let me go back here real quick, and then I'm going to play it. Do you guys remember the stairwell footage of Eagle Boy, right? So what Governor Cox is trying to imply right there, and I don't know why, they're saying that Tyler Robinson walked on campus to shoot Charlie Kirk in the maroon shirt, in the shorts, and in the Converse. And that once he got to the roof, they're saying he changed into the black Eagle shirt, long pants, hat, and glasses. I don't know why he said this right here. I have no clue why. That they said he changed into those clothes on the roof. It would have to be those clothes. Those are the clothes that he's wearing when he jumps off the roof. And then when he turns himself in, he's supposedly back in either the shorts. No, he's in pants this time. He's in pants, Converse, and the maroon shirt. So, but even the before footage that they show in court and this footage that they showed initially, you don't see anyone changing. And if they did have him changing in the footage, why wouldn't they have showed that in court? Why wouldn't they have showed that to us in the beginning? Why is their footage missing at all? It doesn't make sense. Why did Governor Cox lie? All right. Because his lips are moving, and that's just what they do. So this is notice, as we scooted in, it got a little bit more blurry, okay? And then we're going to scoot in even more. Or is this as close as it gets? I think it scoots in a little bit more as he gets close to the corner. Yep. And see, it gets even more blurry. See how it makes the pixels are bigger, okay? It gets everything more pixelated the closer they zoom in. This did not make things more clear. All right. It made it less clear. Look at it. It looks like you're looking through gas fumes, right? Or you're looking through water. See what it does to like edges. The definition is gone. And that's not a rifle in his hand. It's like a shirt. It's like a jacket. It's like a towel or something. There's nothing solid or fixed in there. I don't see anything solid or fixed. It just flopped on the ground. Okay. But see that he's wearing, this is the clothing that they're saying he changed into on the roof. But this is the same clothing, well, at least it looks like from here, is pants, black shirt, long sleeve shirt, hat, and a black backpack. That's what it looks like to me. All right. So Governor Cox freaking lied. Why did you lie, Governor Cox?
The clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting here at UVU. Last question here. Yes.
And that's what he's saying, before the shooting, not the stairwell footage. That matches what he was wearing on the roof. He's talking about the maroon shirt, shorts, and Converse.
Yeah. So I don't have any information on the mental illness part. He was not a student here at UVU.
All I really wanted to play was that one part of that. Here, let's check this out. This is Tyler Boyer just after the assassination. This is Tyler Boyer, September 22nd, 2025. Let's hear straight from the horse's mouth.
To talk about his close friend, Charlie Kirk. You're one of Charlie's closest friends. You guys really came through the ranks together. You joined in 2015, I believe.
Yep. I met Charlie in 2014.
How are you doing, first of all?
We're doing good. Obviously, all things considered, it's been a week, unlike anything else. I think the hardest part is kind of losing, the person that you would consider one of your closest friends, one of your closest allies. At the same time, the person that helps you run all the business, that everyone looks up to you. Obviously, we're seeing the flooding of prayers, and we're feeling it. All of our people are feeling it. but we're hanging in there.
How is Erica doing?
Erica is
Great.
remarkably strong.
Yeah.
She has been so brave throughout this whole thing, and quite honestly, an inspiration for all of us.
She's been very protective of the kids, and I want to clear something up because we have not gotten a clear answer. Were the kids there?
No, they were not.
No.
Were they in Utah?
That.
No, they were not.
No. But everyone lied in the beginning and said she was to help, propel that emotional asset, grief, sympathy, a component to it.
Okay.
So yeah, there's been a lot of rumor mill stuff online.
Probably by you.
With all of that, they were not. We're praying so hard for his children.
Of course.
Who he kissed goodbye that morning, and
he left that morning to fly to Utah for that rally.
That's right.
Tyler,
we don't know that actually. So I don't know why Tyler is saying he kissed his kids goodbye. That would mean, if that's true, hold on, you guys, Erica said that he left without saying goodbye to her, without kissing her goodbye. So if Charlie kissed Gigi and Mac goodbye, that means I think I'm right. And there was a fight with Erica the night before. Because if Gigi is sleeping in the bed with Erica, Charlie takes a shower in the other bathroom. He walks into the master bedroom to get his necklace and his ring. And if Tyler's right, that means Charlie kissed Gigi next to Erica, didn't say goodbye to Erica, didn't kiss her, goes and kisses Mac, and then leaves. But I don't even know how Tyler would know if he kissed Mac. Mac is at the time 1.5. He's in a crib. He's in a different room. So that must have come from Erica. So I guess, like, I don't know. What can you believe when that woman says it, you know? But it would make it more weird. That's for sure. Just keeps getting weirder. Hold on. Let's see what popped up. Did I read this one? I'm sure Charlie's smiling. I did. This one. What up, Matt? What up, fake Blake? I don't like it when I see that, man. You get me nervous every time I see that, bro. I don't like it. You should change your profile photo and your name to something else. Christ is king indeed. Became a member today. Thank you for becoming a member. Are you and the real base cool now? No. Nope. All right, let's continue.
Most of us know Charlie through these interactions with kids on college campuses. Can you fill in the picture of Charlie the person?
Who you see online is exactly who Charlie was behind the scenes. I met Charlie, basically just coming into young manhood and coming out of his teenage years. And ever since day one, I've ever met Charlie, he's been a person that's endearing, cares very much, the most passionate person you'll ever meet. I've turned down a lot of political jobs in my life. I never thought I would actually end up working in politics because so many people were just difficult to work for.
It's an ugly business.
It's awful. And when I met Charlie,
yeah, you're the one that lives in it. You like backswim in it. You're doing the breaststroke in it, bro. What are you talking about? It's awful. All right.
And I was just telling this story at ASU. I flew out to meet Charlie. It was negative 10 degrees in Chicago. I flew Spirit Airlines. He put me on Spirit Airlines to go meet him. We stayed in a Holiday Inn Express. But through all of that shined through just this incredibly passionate young man who wanted to do what was right by the conservative movement. And that was unique at the time because this was in the shadows of the Obama 2.0 era.
Out of favor at that point.
Yeah, conservatives just were kind of lost and didn't really know how to engage and how to talk to the public. And young people, in particular college campuses, were basically just completely wiped clean of anything that had two sides to a story. And Charlie had this vision and this passion to be able to go there and do it. And it was easy for me as a young guy that was coming out of college here at ASU to want to join up and help spread that message.
So the vision from the get-go was, let's go right into the belly of the beast, so to speak.
That's right.
And engage these kids.
How Charlie died was exactly the way that he started, which was going right in.
All right. Actually, so the one I think I want to see is here. Is he wearing the same outfit? Is this the same day? Hold on. Is that this shirt? Hold on. No, it's a different shirt. All right. I'm pretty sure this is where he says, and I need to send this one to Artifex. This is where he says I could hitch my wagon to Charlie Kirk.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tyler Boyer, the CEO of
No, I'm going to apologize right now for the volume. It's in a stadium, and it's the speaker.
Thank you. We love Charlie. I want to start today by telling the joke that I heard Charlie Kirk tell about 1 million times before he spoke before an audience. Does anybody here know it? Think you know it? So pretend I'm Charlie for a second. I'm Charlie Kirk, and I'm from Illinois. We believe in term limits. 1 term in office, 1 term in jail. The second joke he always told before he got before an audience was, wow, there's more people in here than we had in our first event. And there's definitely more people in here than we had in our first event. There's more people in here than ASU basketball, let's be honest. And I'm a Sun Devil.
You know you're a devil. That's for sure.
All right, I want to just tell you real quick a story about meeting Charlie.
There we go.
I want to tell you about how I met Charlie Kirk, how we ended up here in Arizona together.
Yep, here it is.
I met Charlie Kirk in 2014. We worked. He talked me into taking a sub-minimum wage job.
Oh, you didn't like that, did you?
My wife's in there somewhere. She wasn't really excited about that at the time. But had 2 kids, really young kids, taking a sub-minimum wage job. He put me on a flight, a Spirit Airlines flight. I know, that's where the deal breaker usually was. But I went to ASU, so I was giving it a full shirt. And I showed up, and it was negative 10 degrees in Chicago. At a Holiday Inn Express. So you kind of layer all those things together, you start to see this beautiful picture of Turning Point USA in the early days. But I walked into that Holiday Inn Express, and I spent what would become 3 days with Charlie Kirk. And I spent just a couple of hours one-on-one with Charlie Kirk. And this is before anyone knew who Charlie Kirk was. And I was surrounded by actual conservatives, activists, much like this room, surrounded by conservative activists that actually cared about the movement and wanted to do this. And I looked at Charlie, and I spent those few hours that I had with Charlie in that first encounter ever. Negative 10 degrees outside Chicago, didn't know what the heck I was doing. And I walked away from that going, I can hitch my wagon to this guy.
There it is, 318. I got you, buddy. Sending this to Artifex. Yep, I can hitch my wagon to you, buddy. That's not a positive thing, all right? Not in my opinion, all right? Like, just think about the context of what, like, just visualize that, right? I'm going to hitch my wagon to you. You're pulling my wagon. I'm going to load my wagon up full of stuff off of your hard work. You're going somewhere that I can't go on my own. Okay. My wagon would stay right here. But if I hitch it to you, my wagon goes where you go. Now I get to benefit off of you. That's how I understand that statement. Tell me if I'm wrong. All right. I don't want to hear any more from that total tool. All right. Now we're going to go to the end of the day Charlie Kirk clips because we're already at 3 hours. Hopefully everybody is. Hold on. Pause. Hopefully everybody's here for the part of the show where we get to watch Charlie Kirk. All right. Please don't leave. All right. Well, before everyone, I don't want to lose anyone real quick. All right. if you guys haven't done so already, please do me a favor and hit the like and the subscribe. Please, we got 3,700 people here. There is 2,400 likes. We could do better than that. Please, I appreciate it. Also, after the video is done, head over to the comment section in the video, write a comment, give a thumbs up. Great job. Keep it up. Whatever you want to say. All right. You could just throw an emoji in there too. It doesn't even have to be anything. It helps the video and the algorithm get to new people. More people need to see today's interview with Mitch. You can also hype the video for free. You just hit this hype button and it hypes it. It also helps the video. Okay. All right. Let's watch Charlie.
Because people, or she's working on winning an election.
Oh, winning an election. So just tell the voters what they want. Right.
I think that if you want to win an election, you have to sometimes compromise on the things that you originally believed in. She realized that it was not a productive policy when she was running in 2020 and she didn't get the nomination. So she backstepped, and it's okay for people to change their opinions when they've learned more.
What is her greatest accomplishment?
She's had a record number of tie-breaking votes in the Senate of any vice president ever.
What's the greatest legislative accomplishment you'd point to?
I don't have
No, but the tie-breaking vote. Tell me one tie-breaking vote.
Oh, I wish I had this on the top of my head, but I don't. I have another question for you. Do you believe in parents' rights?
I'm curious about her achievements. Of course, parents can't abuse their kids, but I do believe in parents' rights. Yes, but tell me this.
Do you believe that it's okay to ban critical race theory nationwide?
Yes, of course, we should ban critical race theory from publicly funded schools.
Rights.
No, okay. Again, I'm happy to.
That's backwards.
Well, hold on. Do you think that we should teach eugenics in our?
That she's being pushed one way or the other because people.
All right, click to the next one. Let me go to the next clip here. I think we've seen this one.
Why is it that when Trump was president, an average house you could get at $75,000 combined income a year, now it's $130,000 a year? Why is that?
So I will say that I don't agree with everything that Kamala Harris stands for, and I'm not that knowledgeable about it. That's why I'm having the debate so I can learn. But I also don't agree with Trump. So
on what though? What?
I just don't.
Can you give me?
Don't boo me.
I'm not. No, guys, don't. No, please.
Yes.
Don't boo.
Thank
Don't
you,
boo.
guys.
Please don't boo. What's your name?
Taylor.
Taylor, thank you for coming up. Can you give me 2 things that you don't agree with Trump on, or would you like?
Do you see how respectful Charlie was? Other people were booing her, and he wanted her to be able to be heard, for her to feel like she's not going to be heckled and made fun of. He really wanted to debate ideas, not personalities. He was, you know, an amazing man.
Me to try to win you over for Trump.
So you're not going to be able to do that, but I appreciate it.
Well, then you're not open-minded.
Yeah.
So, well, first of all,
if you say that there's nothing you really agree, so why?
Yeah, if there's nothing that he could say, like at least keep open the possibility that there might be something, there might be information that you don't know yet, and that if you heard that information, it might sway your opinion.
That says if you come into a country, you're given amnesty. And you disagree. I don't. By the way, if they're doing jobs, more the reason to kick them out, because those should be jobs given to Americans.
But the job market is higher now than it has ever been. The stock market is higher now than it has
hold
ever
on.
been.
Let's hold on. Do you guys think the economy is better or worse?
We're not.
You are living on a cloud, man. Listen to the people of this country. They can't afford things. The job market is awful. The economy is terrible. Stop reading the New York Times and start talking to American voters.
Yeah.
And you understand how insane you sound? The economy is better. People are telling you they can't afford stuff.
Yeah, inflation is high now because Trump spent more than any president on the debt in 4-year period.
So wait, it's Trump's fault that inflation is high 4 years later.
As you would come to realize, I'd hope in your role that economies are reactionary forces. It takes time for things to be.
That's a bill that's.
And then it restarted. All right. Let's see where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I've made it through all the super chats. All righty, guys. Also, if you guys want to help support, but you don't want to give money through YouTube, you can do it here at buymeacoffee.com/the Black Line Brief. You just scan the QR code, or you could do it here at the Black Line Brief Venmo account. You just scan the QR code, okay? Just make sure you write in the note or the memo what you would like your donation or support to go to. All right? All right, guys. I think that is everything. God bless you guys so much. I love you guys so much. Stay tuned for tomorrow's show. And yep, I love you guys. God bless. Have a good night.